So we're going to kick off with our Supreme Novice Hurdle. It's 1:30 on the Tuesday, and currently with Boyle Sports, Ballyburn is the 5-4 favourite. Tullyhill is 4-1. Mythical Power is 5-1. Firefox 7-1, and it's 8-1 bar. I think you all know where I'm going to start here. I don't think there's any surprises. We do have Willie Mullins as assistant trainer on the couch at the moment, and one of the reasons we got him here was to find out stuff. So, Mr. David Casey, here we go. The phone is ringing. It's Willie. Say nothing. Ballyburn. Okay, first of all, you yourself, have you an inkling where you think he's going to turn up?
Not really.
Do you think Willie knows where he's going to go?
I'd say he did, but I'd say he's changed his mind.
Okay. So, right here, right now, Friday night, a couple of weeks before the Cheltenham Festival, where do you think Ballyburn is going to run?
Don't know.
Right, let's have another go, right? Do you think Ballyburn will win the Supreme?
Yes.
Do you think Ballyburn will win the Bearing Bingham?
Yes.
Right, this isn't going well. Okay, let's talk about him as though he's a runner in the Supreme. What makes him so good, and why is he the one horse that can win any novice race?
I think he's got it all. I last year as a bumper horse, I would completely have had him down as a stayer. But he jumps really, really well. I think he's got, the more he's learned to race, I think the faster he's got. And you saw in the 2 mile race at Leopardstown, he can go gallop and he can quicken up off it. And, you know, you need a stayer essentially as well to win a Supreme. You know, it's a long way around there. So I think he's got all the attributes. Okay,
you're Willie Mullins. You've got the top job. You train Ballyburn. You make the decisions. Where is Ballyburn running?
You've got to wait and see what else is going to pitch up, and you go the best race you think you can win.
He's good, isn't he? He's diplomatic. That is Ballyburn. You've also got now the second favourite in Tullyhill, who won at Punchestown impressively on Sunday. I know some of our panellists don't think he's maybe all he's made out to be. What do you make of Tullyhill?
Oh, he's a real, real good horse. Doesn't jump as well as Ballyburn, and that's his Achilles heel. If he jumped as well as Ballyburn did, there'd be no contest. He'd be in the Supreme, Ballyburn would be in the other race. He's every bit of the amount of ability Ballyburn has as well. He's a real, real good horse. I think he can improve loads again off what he did last week. And the day he gets his jumping together properly. You know, we had 2 horses last year going to the bumpers in Cheltenham, and Tullyhill went to the champion bumper, Ballyburn went to the winners of 1. That'll tell you.
Okay. You've also got Mystical Power, who's unbeaten and bred in the purple. Is Mystical Power in the same league as the 2 you've just mentioned?
When you'd see him at home, you'd say no. But we never thought that. Like, he went to a bumper in Ballinrobe, that'll tell you what we thought of him at the time. But he keeps producing it on the track, so you like those horses that keep producing it. Obviously, Connections have another horse in the race. That's fairly well fancied. So again, he's in the both races. I would have said again he was more of a stayer originally, but he looks, especially the last day, Mark Hoffman said he's a different horse to the one he'd been riding during the summer last year. So he's getting better and getting sharper, and you know, obviously he has the pedigree to go around there. So obviously very good on the track. Wouldn't be as good as the other 2 at home.
Okay, do you think it's going to be a kind of a last minute thing, deciding who runs where?
Well, sure, Tullyhill will definitely run here because it's his only option.
Yeah.
Ballyburn will be late enough, and I would imagine a lot of Frank and JP will have a lot of input for maybe where Mystical Power goes, depending on what they want to do with other horses, isn't it?
Okay, final question. If Ballyburn doesn't run here and Ballyburn runs in the Bearing Bingham, do you think Tullyhill will win the Supreme Novice Hurdle?
Ability-wise, yes. I'm just not certain his jumping would hold up enough.
Okay. I think we learned a lot. Without learning anything, I think we learned a lot there. Jonny Dineen, the Supreme Novice Hurdle. I know you're going to have to talk a little bit through your pocket here, because odd up in the ante, Jonny tipped up Ballyburn for the Supreme at 14-1, and I presume you backed him yourself. Do your best to convince David Casey to run Ballyburn in the Supreme.
Look, I don't have any input into anything really, to be fair. But look,
in life in general,
he can probably win both races, as David said. I think he would. I think he will win both, either race, whichever one he wants. I wouldn't be overly keen on Tully Hill, to be honest, and I wouldn't be overly keen on Mystical Power either, for that matter. If Ballyburn doesn't run here and goes for the longer race, I think Firefox is probably the one that might benefit the most. He'd be a horse I'd be very much afraid of. He has beaten Ballyburn over hurdles. Admittedly, maybe Ballyburn might have probably needed a run, but like, look, still, he did beat him fair and square. And I'd say disappointed a bit in Nace. It probably wasn't the same Firefox that you might see in Cheltenham. He's a good leper, he's a good jumper. I think he's the danger to Ballyburn. I do fancy Ballyburn if he goes here, but if he doesn't, I'd be going with Firefox, I think.
You're a hugely successful punter, Jonny, and you always said to me that the start at Cheltenham is the most important. If you're behind after 2 days, you're in trouble. The Supreme is a very important race to you. How important is Ballyburn running in the Supreme and winning the Supreme for your Cheltenham Festival?
Well, it's a big kick start, because if you get off to a start in any festival, you're on the front foot. If you go behind, you tend to go further behind, and you do funny things from behind. Front run. Gambling is all about front running anyway. A bit like a lot of things in life. Anyway, it's much easier to do things when you're in control and when you're not on tilt as such. So look, a good start is massive, and it's the fact that I'm on him. It saves me backing him if he does run. So even if I backed him and he was beat, having this bet on him saves me that anyway alone. So even if he does, I'd like to see him running in here for starters.
So you're a front runner in life as well, Jonny, are you? Everton is on the front foot.
Oh, absolutely.
So your wife chased you, not the other way around?
Well, no, I don't know what happened there, but anyway, look, I like being in the comfort zone. It's so much easier to do things, I think, when you're not under real pressure. If
Ballyburn runs in the Supreme, how surprised would you be if he was beaten?
Sure, any horse can get beat. He'll be shade of odds on to win, so he's no absolute certainty either. But look, I wouldn't fall down surprised, but I would be slightly surprised if he didn't win. Yeah, I would.
Gavin, would you be surprised if Ballyburn doesn't win the Supreme if he runs in it?
Nearly, yeah. I would. Listen, it looks like it's Willie's race, really. Whichever he runs in it, I suppose.
Have you had many runners against Ballyburn, Tully Hill, or Mythical Power this season?
I don't think I've had anything against them.
Really?
No.
Okay.
Don't really have anything for that grade. I'd agree with Jonny. Firefox, I'd say, will probably chase home whatever Willie runs.
Okay, so maybe Firefox might be the each way angle at 7-1. Robbie Power, you're obviously attached to the Henry de Bromhead stable. I presume you're waiting and seeing what Ballyburn is doing. Henry has said that about Slade Steele, who's a very good horse in his own right.
Yeah, no, he is a very good horse, and he was beaten by an exceptional horse in Leopardstown the last day in Ballyburn. He pulled a long way clear to third himself, so it was a very good run. And yeah, we leave it late enough to see where we go, but it'll depend on ground as well. If the ground got very testing, he'd stick to a Supreme, but if it was nice ground, he'd step up and go for the barring Bingham. I think Ballyburn wins whichever race he goes for. I think he'll go here because I think Willie wants to get off to a good start, and he will get him off to a good start where there's question marks over Tully Hill's jumping and Mystical Powers for that matter. I think Mystical Power will be suited by a step up in trip. So if I was a betting man, I'd say Ballyburn's going to run here. Unless it was very good ground, which I don't think it'll be.
So you think he's going to run here and you think he'll win?
He'll win. He'll win whichever race he runs in. He's by a distance the best novice in Ireland or England. He'll win wherever he goes. And I think Willie'll start off here to get off to a good start. Okay,
there you go. That is Ballyburn. Tony Keenan, are you as big a fan of Ballyburn as the rest of the panel?
I would be, yeah. I'm kind of hoping he doesn't run here, to be honest. I'd like to back Mystical Power to beat Tully Hill. I think Mystical Power's a better horse than Tully Hill. More improvement in him anyway. He only had the 3 runs. I'd say Big Galileo, he probably won a bit of nice ground. You'd look at it and you'd say they beat Jigaro similar distances, but I'd say the Mystical Power race went far more against Mystical Power than a little bit of a soft lead Tully Hill got last week. So yeah, I see the two of them. Mystical Power's the bigger of the two. If the market was to stay that way, I'd be happy enough backing Mystical Power to beat Tully Hill if there was no Ballyburn. But if Ballyburn's in it, I would expect him to win.
Okay, so Mystical Power is 5-1 with Boyle Sports. He's another one we don't know exactly where he's going to go, but it's a pretty much a unanimous panel here for Ballyburn in the Supreme Novice Hurdle, with a shout out to Firefox if he doesn't turn up, and Tony fancies Mystical Power to finish ahead of Tully Hill. That is the opener. It's the 1:30th Supreme Novice Hurdle. Moving swiftly on to the Arkle, and Marine National, who dirtied his bib at the Dublin Racing Festival, is 5-2 favourite. Elete Thoms is 9-2. Founder 55-1. Gaelic Warrior 6-1. Facile Vega 7-1. 8-1 Hunter's Yarn. 10-1 Calixios and JPR1, and 14-1 Bar. Jonny Dineen, I'm going to come to you here first, and then we're going to go to Robbie Power, because I know me and you don't agree on that much. We kind of clash on a lot of things, hence you're hugely successful and I'm not. In the Pocket is a horse we both fancy for this race. Do you really hope he shows up here? He had a setback earlier on in the season. We'll chat to Robbie in a minute. He was ruled out for a large portion of the season. He's back in training now. Has to be supplemented for this race, but it could happen. Are you hoping it does happen?
Yeah, look, he's going to have a bad prep, though. You'd have to say that coming here, a maiden one run back in November, it's certainly not ideal anyway. And I'd say you'd struggle to find a horse that won the Arkle off of that kind of a prep. I know Welsh Chief won the Arkle 1 year off the back of one run, but it was a winning run at the same time, and it was within couple of weeks of the race and that. So look, it isn't an ideal prep. He's a very good horse, he is, but he's still up against it. Even if he does run it, I would have thought. No, I'm hoping he runs to have a few bob on him, and he's not going to win at home. But if he does turn up, he only has a chance, I think, anyway. To be honest, I do think it's a wide open race at the same time, so I wouldn't fall down if he won around that. But I would only say he has a chance. That's all.
And if he doesn't run, what would you like to have a few quid on it?
I think it's a wide open race, to be honest. I don't really fancy Marine National. I think he runs with his head out to the side. He runs like he has a physical issue. I would be thinking he's some sort of a breeding issue or something like that, because he definitely didn't give his running the last day. And he's by his sire, French Navy, who's not the most prolific of sires. I would be slightly against Marine National. I don't really fancy Founder 50. I don't think he'd win this race. Elite Thompson's a good, solid horse, but you'd say that he's vulnerable in any kind of a race. Look, I wouldn't be surprised if an English horse shaped well here. JPR1, I think he has a bit of a chance. I do think it's a wide open race, and that's why if In the Pocket did actually turn up here, he might have a chance, all right. But under normal circumstances, you'd find it hard to see a horse winning with that prep. But I do think it's wide open. But I would be against Marine National, and definitely Founder 50 anyway for starters, and I'd be giving JPR1 and possibly In the Pocket a chance. Okay,
so JPR1 is currently 10-1 with Boyle Sports. Robbie Power, Henry has Calixios in here at 10-1, who bounced back to form at Naas last time and could have In the Pocket. Is there any latest news on In the Pocket? How is he shaping at home?
Yeah, no, he's in good form. He's canting away. He's doing plenty. I agree with what Jonny says. Our horse have to have one run in the beginner's chase and finish in second to go and win an Arkle. It'll be a massive ask. It'll be up to JP and Frank and Henry as to whether they supplement him or not. So I don't know whether that's going to happen or not. But I think Calixios is an each way chance. I think it's a wide open Arkle. I don't fancy Marine National. I don't think he's a chaser. I don't think he can be a better chaser than he was a hurdler. His beginner's chase he won was a very ordinary race, and I don't think he ran much worse in the Grade 1 the last day when he was beaten. I honestly don't think the beginner's chase he won was an egg and spoon race. The horse that he finished second to him got beaten in the beginner's chase after that as well. So I don't think he ran a whole lot below par when he ran his from his beginner's chase run to his Grade 1 form. I think he's a better hurdler and he will never be a chaser. He hasn't the physical size and scope to jump fences, so I don't fancy him at all. And it's wide open. I think horses, as Jonny says, JPR1 has an each way chance in the race. Actually, Gavin's horse, My Mate Mozzie, has an each way chance in the race. He'll be ridden to run well, and that's the kind of horse you're looking for. They're going to go quick in the Arkle, and I think My Mate Mozzie and Calixios are each way chances.
The Ballyburn conundrum to you, Gavin Cromwell. Obviously, you've got My Mate Mozzie in here at 16-1. I think at the moment in the Grand Annual, 24 hours later, you're 6-1 favourite. Are you any closer to deciding where My Mate Mozzie might show up?
Well, I suppose we'll wait till the weights come out. I know I did get an English mark for him, but he ran since that, so I think that's open to change.
Our headline tipster in the Racing Post is Tom Siegel. Price-wise, that you will know him. he is convinced this horse has a massive chance in this race, my mate Mozzie, and he thinks you will be absolutely barking mad to run him in the Grand Annual because he thinks he could win the Arkle.
Yeah, you can certainly see the angle for it. Marine National, like it's going to be very hard for him to bounce back after the run the last day. Like he can pick holes in the form of, the first 5 or 6 in the betting. So, listen, we'll wait and see. But I certainly not ruling it out.
How is he?
He's very good, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a real consistent, solid performer, isn't he?
Yeah, he runs well fresh as well. So, listen, we haven't run him since Christmas to keep him fresh for this, and yeah, he's in good nick.
If he does run on this, who do you think your biggest danger is?
I'd say Elete Toms or Found a 50 maybe.
Okay, that is Elete Toms, currently 9-2, and Found a 50 is 5-1. But keep an eye on my mate Mozzie, 16-1 for the Arkle. He could show up here, or he could run in the Grand Annual. Tony Keenan, the panel are very down on Marine National. This time last year, we were talking about him as a potential Supreme Novice Hurdle winner. He went and won that race. He beat Facile Vega. He only has one blip. They're very unforgiving, this lot.
You would be, I suppose. He was odds on last day. He was odds on for the Arkle before the last day. I think the stable form was probably a bit of an issue as well. Barry Connell was winning 1 of the 3 races with every runner he had last season. I think he's 1 of the 12 this year. Just a little bit of a negative, I'd say, just the way the horses are going generally. I'd say he is having his worst season as a trainer, strike rate wise. And as Jonny said, the head carriage wouldn't have looked great the last day. And he has that bit of a wonky head carriage in his bumper days as well, but just when it starts to go a little bit sideways, this close to the big target, you would be concerned.
You don't fancy him?
I don't know.
What do you fancy?
I wouldn't fancy anything wild strongly, but if it turned up soft, and I'd fancy Facile Vega. I think he doesn't seem to operate really that well around Leopardstown on kind of nicest ground, but when he's turned up to Cheltenham, he's won and run a screamer. And I just think a horse of that overall ability, if it did come up soft, would have a chance. I'm not sure he's running.
Well, we'll soon find out.
And if he weren't to run, I'd give a chance to the stablemate Blood Destiny. I know he was disappointing the last day, but you see, he destroyed Heartwood in Naas under that horse's ideal conditions, and Heartwood was race fit. I was really impressed with his jumping. I just wasn't sure he got home the last day in Punchestown, and he's kind of biggish kind of price there. Was he 12 or 14-1? So I thought you're backing the best trainer with Facile Vega, who has looked at the top class horse, and Blood Destiny horse. There's a bit of potential. I still think the Irish are going to be a cut above. Like some of these English horses weren't even running in Grade 1 novice hurdles last year, and the ones that were 100-1. So they do have a big gap to bridge, and you think one of the Irish is going to put it together. I just think Elete Thomas has run twice at Cheltenham. He just never got into a rhythm either day. Looks really well suited by Leopardstown. He's a bit buzzy. Maybe he doesn't just take the preliminary. So I think Facile Vega, if we're slow, and Blood Destiny if he pitches up too, maybe.
Okay, so 7-1 and 14-1 poke for Tony Keenan, Facile Vega and Blood Destiny. David Kinsey, I have so many questions. I don't even know where to start. Let's start with the enigma himself, Gaelic Warrior. Have you any idea what's going on with him? What happened the last day, where he might show up?
I don't know how he's going to run. The last day, I'd say they just went too quick, and he made a mistake, and I'd say it emptied him a little bit. And Paul, I'd say, and the horse kind of gave up. Paul, the other horse took him on and went on, and I'd say Paul was just easy enough on him. I'd love to run him here. I think he'd probably win if he ran here.
So do I. That's how much ability I think he has. But
yeah, but it hasn't been discussed yet where he's going to go. But I would run him here. Like, obviously the race was blown open after Dublin with Marine National blown out. I thought he looked poor in the ring that day, Marine National, before the race. And I think if he got back to somewhere near his best, I think he'd beat all of these looking at him again. And he's running last year's Supreme. I think you'd have to be worried. Like, he never ran again after the Supreme last year. Went and had a wind up in the summer. You know, there has to be doubts. I thought he was very good in his beginner. I thought he jumped great. I thought he jumped well enough in Leopardstown, maybe a little bit high for a 2 mile novices, but he was beat early. I thought he was beat before the second last. Him back to his best, I think he'd take all the beating. Outside of that, I think it's wide open. Quilixius was the horse I was given a good chance to each way. I thought he put up a fair performance in Naas and previous Festival winner. I thought he'd be one. Illited Toms, I think, would have to fall into his lap to try and win it. Has his chance, whatever. Facile Vega, again, I don't know if he's going to run or not. He's in the other race. It looks like the 2 Grade 1 races he's running at Christmas and the last day, there were 2 hack canters. I'd say he wants a real fast 2 miles, and you'll see him better, or maybe he'll step up to 2.5. Blood Destiny, I'd say, might not run, Tony. He could go to Navan next Sunday and on to Fairyhouse then for the Powerball Cup. If he's not declared in Navan, there's a good chance he will pitch up, so you'll know more next weekend. Outside of that, it's wide open. You know, Marine National looked poor the last day. Back to his best, he'd be the one to beat. If Gaelic Warrior runs in the race, I think he'd take all the beating.
And is Gaelic Warrior okay at home and stuff since?
Oh, he's fine. Yeah, he's grand. Okay. Yeah, he'll work in the morning. He'll be grand. But it's the race I'd run him in anyway, I think.
Okay, there you go. With that is the inside info on the Clive Sutton camp in the Arkle. As we know, it's a wide open race. That's the 2:10 on Tuesday. But we'll move on to the 3:30. It is the champion hurdle, and Constitution Hill is the 1-4 favourite. Stateman is 5-2. Lossiemouth, who won't run here, is 4-1. 14-1 Irish Point, and 20-1 Echoes and Rain. We'll do a quick straw poll in the audience. Does anybody in the audience think Stateman will beat Constitution Hill? You're going to have to shout because it's dark. Does anybody in the audience think Stateman will beat Constitution Hill? Yeah. Okay, we have 5 or 6 maybe in the audience that think Stateman could beat Constitution Hill. David Casey, can he?
Sure, of course he can, but it's very unlikely, I suppose. Like if the Constitution Hill turns up that we saw last year, I mean, definitely he's the horse to beat, but you've got to go there and you've got to pitch up. We haven't seen him for a long time. Who knows, maybe the ground or whatever, he didn't wanted to keep him fresh, but listen, Stateman's gone there, he does his thing every day. Whether he's good enough on the day or not, I don't know. But he's in great order, and you know, I think he'll run his race again, but it's just a question of whether he's good enough on the day.
Is he a better horse in 2024 than he was in 2023?
I'd say he is, yeah. I'd say the run he put up at Christmas, I'd say, was a very, very good run. Wasn't so sure he was as good the last day. But I thought at Christmas he was really, really good. I'd say he's a bigger, stronger horse. I'd say he's more mature, yeah. So, but he'll have to be.
Puppy, I'd say if you weren't retired, you'd love an L Spain on Constitution Hill, would you? He's some bit of stuff.
He's unbelievable. The performance last year in Cheltenham was very, very good. He wasn't as good at Naintree over 2.5. And I wasn't blown away by him in Kempton. I thought he did what he had to do, and that was it. I'd like to have seen him again. I do definitely think Stateman is a better horse this year. And maybe for some reason, I know Paul Townend feels Stateman didn't turn up in Cheltenham last year. If that's the case, I think Stateman will bridge the gap. Will he bridge the gap far enough to beat him? I'm not so sure. I think Constitution is an exceptional horse, and he'll take all the beating.
Tony, where does Constitution Hill rank in the all-time list of horses that Tony Keenan has seen in his lifetime?
Oh, jeez, I just don't care. You can't bet on it. So
in other words, stupid question.
Yeah, right. I don't care. I can't have a bet. I can't have a bet, right. So I don't really care.
Okay, sorry about that. Will we just move on? Yeah, just move on. Okay, sorry, Tony. Jonny Dineen, I'd say you have backed a few 1-4 shots in your time, have you?
I have a few, but not too many, no.
Not too many. Will Constitution Hill join the list?
No, he won't, no. But I do think he's a good thing, all right, but I'm not going to bet 4 on the champion hurdle. He won't be quite as short as that anyway, I don't think. I'd say he'd be slightly better than that, but he'd be 3s on maybe or whatever. But look, I wouldn't be betting 3s on in Cheltenham, no. It's just wouldn't be interested. I'd rather bet 3s on in novice hurdle, maiden hurdle, some that kind of thing, if I wanted to. But no, I won't be backing him, but I do think he'll win at the same time.
And Tony's thought it was a stupid question, but do you think he's the best hurdler you've ever seen?
Yeah, without a doubt, yeah. He's the best horse.
Now, see, it wasn't a stupid question. He answered it properly.
Yeah, I do. I think he's the best horse I've seen anyway in whatever 35 or 40 years looking at horses. Okay. I would say that, and I don't agree even that he has to win 3 champion hurdles to prove he's better than Isterbrek. I think he's already better than Isterbrek myself. Like Golden Signet was probably a brilliant horse. I never saw him running, but he didn't have to win 3 champion hurdles to be mentioned as one of the all-time greats. And I think if Constitution Hill never ran again, you'd have to say he's as good a horse as I've ever seen anyway.
Gavin, any chinks in this guy's armour?
I doubt it. Listen, he's a very good horse. You can only be as good as what's around you at the time. There's nothing. I don't think there's anything around it in this fella's era to beat him at the moment. I suppose Stateman has. It looks like he has improved, but whether it's enough now to put it up to him, I'm not sure.
David, there'll be a few people here wanting to have an each way bet in the race. Maybe it's something at a bigger price. Will Willie run anything along with Stateman, do you think?
Yeah, Zarek the Brave will run. Like everybody seems to think there'll be 4 runners, 3 runners. I think there'll be 8, possibly 9 runners here. Like Constitution Hill will run, Stateman will run, Not So Sleepy, Zarek the Brave, Nemean Line, Lucia, Colonel Mustard, Guard Your Dreams, possibly First Street. Now, they've no chance, but they might just get in the way, you know, which is, you know, which can happen.
Would you give Zarek the Brave a chance of finishing third?
See, for all of these horses outside of Constitutional or Stateman, if you ride the race to run well, you have a chance of being third. If you ride the race to be competitive, you'll finish 6th. So it depends on what they do on the day.
Yeah, okie dokes. That is the champion hurdle. I think we're all in agreement that Constitution Hill will probably win. But we hope it's a proper race against Stateman and hopefully a bit closer than it was last year. The Mayor's Hurdle is a 4:10, 40 minutes after the Champion Hurdle, and one of the bankers of the week for many people is Lossiemouth at 8:13. Ashra Diamond, also from the same stable of Willie Mullins, is 4-1, and it's 12-1 bar. Lossiemouth, she just looked all class at Cheltenham on Trials Day, David.
Yeah, she was very good. Kind of half expected her to do what she did. She'd been working
brilliant, had she?
She'd been working that way, yeah. All of ours are been taken on. I think she'll improve from it. She's catching my eye every morning. She's a standout. I see her on the gallop. Ashra Diamond obviously was very good in Doncaster the same day, but I think Lossiemouth will win. Yeah, I think she's a hell of a mare. I think she's better than she was last year. Some people will say she might have to be, but when I looked at Lovemboy, would probably be better stepped up to 2.5. Marie's Rock coming back from 3. I don't know. She's in and out. Yeah, Jesus. I think this will definitely win.
And the only question I have for you on Lossiemouth, stamina, are you certain that Lossiemouth will stay 2.5 miles?
Yeah, it wouldn't bother me at all.
Okay. So even at 8:13, she's one for the multiples for people here?
Yep, definitely.
There you go. Put that down. Lossiemouth, 8:13. Get her in your lucky 15s. Jonny Dineen, are you in agreement? Lossiemouth. Will Lossiemouth be your, well, potentially Ballyburn, hopefully for you, will have won by now. Will you be loading up on Lossiemouth in the Mayor's Hurdle?
Yeah, I'd say she's as close as a good thing as you get at the festival now, to be honest. She might be as quite as short as 8-13, maybe 6-4 on. Bar you get a swamp or some real heavy rain on the day or something that turns into a real quagmire, turns the race into a 2-6, 3 mile race maybe. That's the only possible way I can see her getting beat. It's absolutely different class to these anyway, in my opinion. And like, okay, Ashra Diamond is a chance, some sort of a chance, but the rest of them have no chance, in my opinion. You know, I couldn't see anything even remotely dangerous outside of Ashra Diamond anyway, you know.
Is there a chance that Lossiemouth will be our biggest bet at the meeting?
Look, it all depends on the price and it all depends on where you're going. I'd say it won't be, but I do fancy her and I will probably be on her, but all depending on the price. Like if she's 4-9, I mightn't back her at the same time. But if she was 6-4 on and it didn't get any vibe there was anything wrong with her, I would back her, yeah, without a doubt.
Do you think there's no comparison between Lossiemouth and Ashra Diamond?
No, I think Lossiemouth will beat Ashra Diamond, but I do think that there's no comparison between Ashra Diamond and the rest of them as well at the same time. I do think if she's to fluff her lines, it'll be Ashra Diamond probably take advantage. Like you couldn't have Gallimar, so they mightn't even run anyway the way it ran the other day in Fairyhouse, and the rest of them simply have no chance, I think, anyway.
Okay, there you go. We're all very lovey-dovey agreeing here on the panel. Tony, you have a smile on your face. Are you potentially going to take on Lossiemouth?
Not saying take her on, but I'm glad,
go on.
I'm glad to hear me.
We need a bit of life up here.
Look, absolute respect what David is saying, and even the fact that she's aimed at the race, that I've no doubt about the stamina, fair enough. But the price she is, you can get an each way bet. It's a good place price on some of them. I thought Tell Me Something Girl was a big price at 20s. She had 2 runs at the festival, won the Dawn Run very, very easily and was going as well as anything when she was brought down 2 out in this race a couple of years ago. I thought the chasing just didn't work out for her at all. She seemed to hate it. And some of Henry seemed to grow a leg now for Cheltenham at the minute. Like some of the horses, even Honeysuckle in this last year, wouldn't have looked of a life going into it. Envoy Allen, I think she's been building to the race all season. Ordinary running off for Christmas, much better at Naas the last time. I think stepping up and triple suit her. I think a bit of nice ground will suit her. And as Jonny says, a lot of the rest of the mount may be great. It maybe isn't going to take a great performance to get into second or third in it. And maybe Lossiemouth won't stay. The price is saying she's an absolute certainty to stay. So I'd be happy enough getting 4-1 for Tell Me Something Girl to make the 3.
Okay, so Tell Me Something Girl, 20-1 with Boyle Sports. And that has nicely reminded me, as this was the scene for the famous blow-by-blow account between Robbie Power and Johnny Dineen last year over Honeysuckle. And if memory serves me correctly, Johnny Dineen, you said Honeysuckle had no chance whatsoever. How did that turn out?
Not very well, yeah. Look, that's it. I get the wrong regulars, so look, it does, of course, and that's horses. And look, who knows what will happen here as well, but I do fancy the favourite, and maybe some, Tell Me Something Girl running into a place, I don't know, but I just think there's probably going to be a biggish field here. That's the only, you'll need a small bit of luck and running coming through, but look, I do think the favourite is a different class here.
Did you go down to clap Honeysuckle into the parade ring?
No, I wasn't able to talk. Our move, yeah, for about a half an hour after that. But look, that's it.
That's racing, Johnny.
Exactly.
Robbie Power, well done with Honeysuckle in this race last year. Lossiemouth for Jonny and so many others is going to define their day one of the Cheltenham Festival. Do you think she's a good thing?
Oh, yeah. She's a certainty, and I think I agree with what Jonny said. I think Lossiemouth and National Diamond are two very, very good mares. But there is great value in the race. I think Henry possibly could run 3 in it. Tell Me Something Girl. Lantry Lady was very impressive in the Red Mills hurdle in Gorham, which it wasn't a great race, but she was very impressive. She's only had the 2 runs, is open to more improvement. And Hispanic Moon was very good in Punchestown the other day. The 3 of them could all run. And they all have each way chances at good prices, 16-1 and 20-1. Yeah, I think Tell Me Something Girl was running the big race in this last year when she got brought down to second last, or 2 years ago. So I think she's the each way value of the race.
Lovely, 20-1. Gavin, anything you like in the mare's hurdle?
I think Lossiemouth is a good thing. She was unbelievable at the trials day. She was a joy to watch. I'd say she's one for next year, and to take on Constitution Hill, getting the mare's allowance. I think she uses class.
Before we move on, stupid hypothetical question. If we're sitting on this stage next year and we're all still alive and everybody is still here, and Lossiemouth has won the mare's hurdle impressively, do you think Lossiemouth could potentially have a chance in a champion hurdle this time next year?
No.
Okay, fair enough. There we go. Gavin, the national...
Keep asking questions to that though, Dave, and we will be here this time next year.
They want the tri-cast, so you've got Lossiemouth to beat Ashford Diamond, and then Tell Me Something Girl. That seems to be the recurrent team there.
Echoes and Rain has a chance each way, if sure.
Echoes and Rain will run here, you think? Okay, Echoes and Rain. David Casey gave a shout out to there. 12-1. Gavin Cromwell, we're going to stick with you for the National Hunt Chase. We're not doing a full preview of the race, but you've got Flooring Porter, who's 7-1 joint, third favourite for the race, also entered in the Stayers Hurdle. He's an absolute legend. You've done an unbelievable job with him because this horse was not easy earlier on in his career. He was beating off low marks and handicap hurdles. He's now a dual Stayers Hurdle winner. Can he be a National Hunt Chase winner?
It looks very difficult, really. Embassy Gardens was very good in Naas the last day. Corbett's Cross, I know he's going there off the back of a fall, but looked very good. David will tell us more about Nick Rocker. He looked to be a bit won't run, okay. Listen, we're not certain to go here. We're in the Stayers Hurdle as well. But I'd say Embassy Gardens taking off a little beating.
Is there any point in me even trying to twist your arm to tell us where he's going to run?
I can't tell you because I don't know.
Oh, you don't know? So no, there's no real... You probably have an inkling one way or the other, but you're not quite sure yet.
Yeah, that's it. There's no point in elaborating on it, really.
Okay, perfect. Good form?
Yeah, he's very good form.
Yeah.
He's going to gallop in Navan after racing tomorrow.
And can I ask you a stupid question? Because I'm good at that.
Yeah,
I'm very good at that. So he's entered in the National Hunt Chase and he's in the Stayers Hurdle. As regards schooling and stuff, what do you do with him?
Listen, he's a very clever horse, and there's no problem with him going back over hurdles. I'd say a couple of schools over hurdles and he'd be back again.
Okay, perfect. So we will wait and see where Flooring Porter shows up at the Cheltenham Festival. But wherever he shows up, I'm sure plenty of people have won plenty of money on him over the years. Day 2 kicks off with the Bingham Novices Hurdle, and it's like deja vu because Ballyburn is currently our 7-4 favourite with Boyle Sports for the Bingham Novice Hurdle. Slade Steel is 7-2, Il Atlantique 5-1, Mythical Power 5-1, 13-2, Reed and Tommy Wrong, Gilly Park 11-1, 12-1 Bar. Right, Robbie, we're going to come to you here first with Slade Steel, because this would appear, if Ballyburn does go for the Supreme, Slade Steel is likely to be sent off favourite. Would you give him a big chance of beating the rest other than Ballyburn?
I'd say if Ballyburn goes for the Supreme, whenever Willie runs here, he'll go off favourite, because there'll be a lot of support for the Il Atlantique. I thought ran a good race in Naas, where he was just touched off by Reed and Tommy Wrong. He was doing all the donkey work in front. I think he's a very, very good horse. He was very impressed when he won his maiden in Gorn. If Ballyburn runs here, he'll win. If he doesn't, Slade Steel, there's a good chance he stays really well. He showed plenty of speed as well, over 2 mile in Leprous on the last day. He's a very, very good horse. But Il Atlantique will be a big danger. Mystical Power could come here as well. It's a deep race as well, but yeah, I think Slade Steel would have a strong chance in this if he runs here.
Okay, currently 7-2. Jonny Dineen, you're not just entirely convinced by Il Atlantique.
No, not really. Look, he's a goodish horse. Yeah, he's a good horse, obviously. But look, I just think that he's been in 3 struggles and lost the 3 of them, and I don't think there's any coincidence in that. There are 3 races where he looked like winning, and like, to be fair, he was coming to the last with Reed and Tommy Wrong. The other one met it all wrong, and he got a length and a half, and still couldn't win. That's not a great sign to me, anyway. I think that like will he be suited by the hit in Cheltenham? I have a feeling that when it comes to the real crunch, he'll bow out like he has done in his last 3, or the 3 times he lost anyway. You know what I mean? Okay, he won a race and going. He didn't win a maiden hurdle. It was bad conditions and uneasy. It is a horse with a lot of ability, but I think he's just lacking that bit of heart maybe that you need in a race like this. I do think this is a fairly open race now if Ballyburn doesn't show, and I wouldn't be surprised if any one of 5 or 6 horses won it. I don't really fancy Il Atlantique, to be honest.
Okay, so he's the one you're against, Il Atlantique, and if it was to push you for a selection?
If Gidley Park actually turned up here, I would give it a chance. It's probably hard enough to fancy English novices, but I'd say that if there is any good English novice, it's him. And of the Irish ones, it'll be interesting to see how Ballyburn gets on. If Ballyburn does happen to win, it franks Slade Steel's form. Ballyburn happens to get beat, maybe, or if Ballyburn is running, he should win this race. But if Ballyburn ran and lost, it would influence the price in Slade Steel too. That's for sure. But if he did happen to hose in the Supreme, Slade Steel would probably be favoured, and he is a good solid horse. I do think he's probably beatable, but I'd say he's definitely 1, 2, 3 material at the same time.
Pocket talk aside here, answer this honestly. Do you think Ballyburn is a bigger certainty in the Supreme or a bigger certainty in the Bingham?
I'd say he'll be the same price in either, because he'll frighten horses away, and he'll make either race, whatever he goes in, about an 8 or 10 horse race. If I would have said he's probably a better bet at the longer distance.
Okay, interesting. So he's 7-4, slightly bigger price for the Bingham. Look, we're not going to go over the Ballyburn chat again, David. Let's just pretend he runs in the Supreme, and you've got Il Atlantique potentially reading Tommy Wrong here.
Yeah, reading Tommy Wrong, I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up in the Albert Bartlett. Il Atlantique would probably run here. What else we got down the race? Jimmy Desau, Mercury, they'll all definitely run. Predators Gold will run. Mystical Power, again, I'm not sure. So there'll be a few in it. Yeah, I give Il Atlantique a good bit more credit in Naas than I had done before. I actually thought it was a better performance. I was a bit like Jonny when he got beaten these 2 bumpers. I thought he battled well enough. I thought after making the running, I thought just the way the race was running, Naas, I thought they went hard early. I thought 3 or 4 took him on, and that I thought it suited reading Tommy Wrong coming from so far back. So I give him a bit more credit. I think he's a good horse. The revolves around Ballyburn, obviously, you know. So I definitely think he's got his chance. I think it's wide open outside of that. Captain Teague will go to the Albert Bartlett. I imagine handstands where that won the Huntington, didn't it, last time out? Didn't look a strong race to me. Now beat Django Bay, was it? Jeez, if they win, we're in trouble. Yeah, I'll be looking for something at a big price. I think it get placed here.
So you don't think Il Atlantique has the soft centre that some people do?
I was siding it. I gave him more credit after an ace than I did before, to be honest.
And he would be Paul Tennant's most likely ride if Ballyburn doesn't run?
Yeah, obviously, if Reed and Tommy Ryan goes the other way, Mystical Power, if he ran, sure, that'd be Mark Walsh, you know, so I couldn't imagine putting his hand up for one of the 25 to 1 shots at the moment anyway.
Perfect. Tony, anything you like in the Bearing Bingham?
I'd like Jonny. I don't like Il Atlantique. He'd be the opposite of a usual Willie Mullins novice hurdle winner. Like he's had 5 runs for the yards, he's beaten in 3 of them. Like usually they're coming in with a string of ones in front of their name, and he's fairly short enough for a horse gets beaten a lot.
But not beaten far.
But that tells its own tale though.
It does.
If getting beaten by less than a length, and sometimes you'd like to get your nose in front. I really like the double green horse in the ace. I thought he was really impressive. Now, my concern is that you don't seem to rate him, which is probably putting the frights off me.
I backed him in ace.
Good man. But I just thought he was doing plenty wrong in the early part of the race. Wasn't really travelling, missed a couple of hurdles, not easy.
Quite lazy. If you rode him handier, he'd have travelled and jumped, he'd been fine.
And I thought second half of the race, he just picked up the bridle beautifully. Despite missing the last, he got up. I'm going to back him wherever he runs now, reading Tommy wrong. As long as Ballyburn don't pitch up against him. But I'd be keenest in him kind of at the prices of the Mullins novices.
That's interesting. And David, like judging by the prices, people seem to think that reading Tommy wrong won't confirm the form with Il Atlantique. You think he might?
The reason I backed him, I thought he was way too big a price. He shouldn't have been 33 to 1 in ace. It was a way better horse than that. I didn't necessarily think he'd win the race, but I just thought he was a way too big a price. He's a fair horse, but he'd be quite deceiving at home, be very lazy at home. So what you'd see on the track is a little bit more than what you'd get at home, you know. So.
Moving on to the Brown Advisory Novices Chase, the 210 on Wednesday. And Fact to File is your 6 to 4 favourite. Stay Away Faye 130. Grey Dawning 9 to 2. Embassy Gardens 9 to 2. 7 to 1 Monty Star. 10 to 1 Gaelic Warrior. And 14 to 1 Bar. I presume you don't have an answer for me on Fact to File, do you, Dave? Brown Advisory or Turners?
No, I actually spoke to Willie, the only horse we spoke about coming up in the car.
Well,
about where he was going and
reveal the conversation.
And I really, at the end of it, anyway, was undecided. So it was.
Are you both on the same page, or are you both on different pages?
I'd say it's similar but different.
That is the most non-answer I've ever got. Similar but different. Okay. Well, what way are you thinking? Are you allowed to tell us what way you're thinking?
I don't think the trip necessarily matters to him. I think 2.5 or 3 miles is fine. I think this is actually a stronger race than the Turners. But I think, again, a little bit like Ballyburn, I think whichever race he's declared in, I think a couple of the others could go the other way and it would open up the race. Stay Away Faye will definitely run here. Grey Dawning could go either way, I'd say he could go 2.5 if Fact the File was here.
I got that impression when Dan Skelton was interviewed the other day. He was very much, look, we haven't given up on the Turners, so Grey Dawning could run.
Like at the moment, I think the Turners is half an egg and spoon race. I think this is strong enough. But again, if some of the others switched across, it would turn it around. But he's a hell of a horse now.
Yeah, how good is he?
Yeah, he's a real, real good horse, Really good horse. Does everything, jumps, travels, gallops. I don't think, he's a big horse. Ground, I don't think it'd be too much of an issue, but he's a hell of a horse,
Is he like the next Gallop in the Shams already coming through?
Yeah, he could be. Yeah. No, I think he's a hell of a horse.
Okay. Stamina-wise, obviously, no problem. And
I couldn't believe he was second in a couple of those bumpers last year because we thought all he did was gallop, you know.
Yeah.
So again, it could change Embassy Gardens if he pitched up here instead of going the other way. Actually, Paul mentioned about running Facile Vega in this race. Talking to him this morning.
Jesus. Yeah. Really? 3 miles?
He said, would it be completely mad? I said, no. We've done mad things in the past.
And he's entered in it, yeah?
Oh, he's entered.
He's entered in it. Wow. That is Facile Vega, who is 16 to 1. But just to sum up, Fact to File, he is the real deal, is he?
I think he's a hell of a horse, yeah. I know it was only a 2-horse race in Leopardstown, but I think there were two proper horses and they went a hell of a gallop. I think I don't really look at times of races, but I kind of look at sectionals to tell you, like, if they went really hard early and a horse that was handy stayed going, then that would tell me a lot about him. The actual time that this race was quicker than that race doesn't really do it for me. But just to the fourth last, I think, or the third last, a 2-horse race was 8 seconds quicker than a handicap, which meant obviously they went a hell of a gallop all the way, you know. So for a 2-horse race, I think it tells a lot. And obviously, then the other horse didn't perform from there home, but yeah, I'd say he's a proper horse.
When do you think a decision will be made in fact to file? Will it be as late as, will it literally be, you know, Monday morning declaration time?
No, I'd say it'll be made before then, probably, yeah.
Okay.
A lot of has to come into connections as well. I see they've that other horse now for the Turners, Iroko, is it?
Yeah.
Or whatever. So whether they're going to be pushing to maybe go here and that, and you know, so.
Okay, we'll watch this space. Jonny, you're a big Fact to File fan. You put up Fact to File up in the ante. I think it's 7-1 for the Brown Advisory. Is he the bomb?
Look, you have to respect people talking, and he's a big hype horse. He's one of the hype horses of the whole season in my eyes. I think on what his bare form is, I think he's very, very short. I do think this is a really good race. Great Dawning is a good horse. He's a really good horse. I think he is anyway. Monty Star is a decent horse as well. And you'd have to respect Stay Away if I don't really fancy him, but he's there with his chance at the same time. So there are 3 smart horses against him, and like all he has one is a no race, 2 no races in my opinion, because Gaelic Warrior gave up at 4 to jump in that race, and whatever times and section, whatever he was doing, okay, but everything is hype. It's on what he. That people are saying.
I know it's hype, but it's educated hype. Like, it's Willie and David, they're watching these unbelievable horses all the time.
I understand that.
They're putting them up here.
It's the right people saying that he's a really good horse. And so you have to respect that. And for that reason, I think he'll probably win. And I think he is an absolute cert to run in this race. No offers, he'll run in this race.
Why?
I just know he will run in this race. What?
So Brown Advisory, Fact to File, he runs here. Jonny Dineen. So you'd be shocked if he ran the Turners.
He won't run in the Turners.
And that's why we love Jonny Dineen. Maybe Monty Star might finish second, or might even win it, Robbie Power. How good is Monty Star? That was a fabulous round of jumping on New Year's Eve at Punchestown.
Yeah, it was. His jumping was his forte. He was always going to be a better chaser than he was a hurdler, and that was very, very pleasing to see in Punchestown. This is a big step up in class, but he goes there fresh. That's what Henry loves doing, going from Christmas or early January straight to Cheltenham, fresh and well. And yeah, he'll run well, but Fact to File has blown me away now. And what I've seen him doing so far, I thought taking on Gaelic Warrior so early in that race in Leopardstown, his jumping was a joy to watch as well. So I think he's a very, very good horse. And if Jonny Dineen is right and he definitely runs here, he'll take all the beating. Monty Star could be second to him. I'm glad to hear Paul Townend saying, would it be mad to run Facile Vega in this? I think Facile Vega is crying out for a step up.
Yeah.
And I think the Turners is the race for Facile Vega. I wouldn't have quite been as brave to go from 2 mile to 3 mile, but Willie Mullins might be. And if Facile Vega steps up and trip in the Turners, I think he's a massive chance.
Okay, interesting. So a shout out to Facile Vega there, who we might talk about later. But Monty Star 7-1. But Robbie is a big fan of Fact to File, who's 6-4, and it sounds like he mightn't even go off 6-4 the way the lads are talking. Tony, is this just another boring favourite that's going to win?
No.
Oh, here we go. No. It's just breaking news.
The betting for this just says one thing to me: English racing is shit. And I that's what it says. Look, like Monty Star, grand horse and all that. He won a beginner's chase against 3-Card Bragg, who possibly isn't a 3-miler and didn't jump that day. And Fact to File looks great, but as Jonny says, the form is there is no form. He hasn't won horse races. He has won time trials, and the times have been deadly. They really I love the times when they're 10 or 12-1. I don't like them when they're 6-4, and everyone knows about it. He has one other massive positive in his favour. Willie Mullins went straight over fences with him. I think that's actually his biggest recommendation, because that would be totally out of character. There's a novice hurdle season there to be had, and they're all the positives, but there's a few negatives. Well, I have my homework here for this one.
Yes, here we go. Take it away, Tony Keenan.
Well, the first one is, I'm not sure he's in love with the track. He did a fair bit of hanging in the champion bumper last year. Now, maybe it was the trip, maybe it was inexperience, but that was one thing. The second. Yeah, and the second thing is the champion bumper was hear me out. I know they've all won.
Yeah.
There's not
No, they haven't. One of them hasn't.
There's not one of them in the top 10 novice hurdlers.
Okay.
If you look at the betting there for the races, there's not one of them is figuring in a Supreme or a Albert Bartlett. Probably the best horse on the day to me was Nichol's horse, Captain Teague, and he's still 7-8-1 for the Albert Bartlett.
Okay. Fair point, yeah.
No, I'm just making a case
right.
at 6-4 where you could be against them.
Okay, what's your third point?
Last point on him is he goes a bit right. Getting a bit right at Leopardstown both days. A little bit concerned about that. So I thought at 6-4 would take him on. But both the two English horses there, like, they're very, very solid form. Stay-Away Fair's already won an Albert Bartlett at Cheltenham. Now, maybe he's a little bit slow for this on goodish ground. But I'd say the Cotswold Chase wasn't much use to him. It was a bit of a sprint. But he's a very good attitude. Grey Dawning to me, for soft ground, I'd be looking to back him. I think he's a right horse. Bar's seasonal debuts and he stands up, he just wins. Really impressive from Warwick the last day. Probably could have beaten Ginny's Destiny with a better jump at the last in their novice chase, giving him £3. So I think I wouldn't be a great man for backing English horses in general, but I think in this race, I'd be happy enough taking the two of them against the two Irish horses.
But to answer your question there, you fancy Stay-Away Fair and Grey Dawning, and valid too, like I could give them massive chances. But could you see Stay-Away Fair or Grey Dawning winning next year's Gold Cup? Whereas you could definitely see Factor File winning next year's.
Oh, indeed you could. Indeed you could. The right colours, the right man training them. But he still hasn't done it. Like, he's 6-4. Like, I just think there's ferocious hype in his price now. And maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe he's going to go 4-5 and 6-4 is a brilliant price. But looking at the form book, I think I'd take him on.
Okay, so we've got two British.
No, the English race and you're going back to the English horse.
No, I think I know what you're saying, Robbie. Yeah, but in fairness to Stay-Away Fair, he did beat Irish horses in the Albert Bartlett last year, and he was up with a strong pace. And Grey Dawning was kind of going okay the entry in a goodish race when he was brought down or fell. So I think at least they have a bit of form we can say.
He didn't beat Factor File.
No, fair enough. Look, it's a price case.
I think your point was that the way they're being priced as if English racing is absolutely shit. That was your point, was it? Yeah, there we go. So it's Stay-Away Fair 130, Grey Dawning at 92 for Tony Keenan, but the rest of the panel are very much fact-to-file fans, with a shout out to Monty Starr from Robbie Power, who thinks could be a decent each way bet at 7-1. Moving on to the 3:30 on the Wednesday, it is the Champion Chase. 2-5 El Fabiolo, 3-1 John Bond, 15-2 Edward Stone, 12-1 Fernie Hollow, who actually runs Sunday, and 16-1 Bar. Tony, you're in good form. You've got a bit of momentum going there. It's like you got your first goal and you've got a bit of confidence. So we're going to stick with you here.
Short and sweet. I'd say the favourite is a bit of a moral here. John Bond, I'd like to see a report that he's all right. Like, he's after cracking off a fair few fences last day and he didn't look great in the finish. So Edward Stone's going to make it a race. I'd say they have to ride him like that. They'd only be compromising his greatest talent, be trying to let him take a lead. I don't think that was really working for him before. He wanted one maybe to get into frame of the price. I think Captain Guinness showed a bit the last day. I'd say this is actually short of 2 miles, which is kind of, he wants a mile 6 chase. I know, no, I've said that before. There's no such thing. We go to America or something for a race like that. But I'd say he might hit the frame.
Captain Guinness hit the frame.
Yeah, but El Fabiolo, no, I'd say very, very hard to beat.
Okay, El Fabiolo hard to beat, and a shout out to Captain Guinness. 16-1 has been placed in the race before. Robbie Power, we're building it up all season as this big rematch between El Fabiolo and John Bond, who were first and second last year in the Arkle. Is it really a rematch, or is it all one-way traffic with El Fabiolo?
No, it's one-way traffic with El Fabiolo. I think John Bond, his form around Cheltenham is terrible. You heard Fitzy talking about winning the Schlur Chase. It was an egg and spoon race. And
he beat Edward Stone.
Edward Stone was having his first run of the season, and Adam King wouldn't be having fully wound up as well. So I think as the season's gone on, Edward Stone has progressed. He won an ordinary race in Newbury the last day, flat track, attacking tactics, forceful tactics. He has a chance, but El Fabiolo will win. I don't think John Bond will finish in the first 3. I think his form around Cheltenham is shocking.
Okay. And do you think Captain Guinness might finish in the first 3?
He could do. He ran an encouraging race. There was obviously disappointment at Christmas.
What was it? Was it a Fibrillating heart or something,
It happened to him before when he came back from it. His run the last day showed promise, and he's been freshened up, and he has a chance of running a nice race. So, I could see him finishing in the first three, but I can't see John Bon finishing in the first three.
There you go. There's the big headline. John Bon won't finish in the first three, according to Robbie Power. David Casey, El Fabiolo is just some bull of a horse now, isn't he?
Yeah, no, he's a superstar, and listen, obviously I'm probably going to be biased, but I think he'll win. I don't think
you didn't think he'd win the Arkle last year, though. I don't think you were, well, not maybe before the race you did, but you were all over appreciated for most of last season ahead of El Fabiolo.
Sure, Precious wasn't even running the race.
No, I know, but in for the season, as the season went on.
Sure. Yeah, but what I'll be saying to you, Dave, now on the television.
Fair enough. But he is the real deal now.
I think obviously I think John Bon is not out of the race. He should have won the race last, even with the mistake.
You think John Bon is switch, sorry?
He's not out of the race.
Not out of it, sorry.
No. Even with the bad mistake, if he just sat on him and didn't move James Bone, he'd have won on the bridle. So I just completely put a line through that. John Bon is a very, very good horse as well, but I don't think he beat El Fabiolo. Edward Stone, I hope they make the run like they did the last day. It seemed to suit him, but I think it would suit us as well. I think the stronger. I think there'll be a good pace actually, because Elixir, the Nuts, they'll probably balance that out as well. Editor the Geese, you wouldn't know what they'd do there. So I think the stronger the pace, the more it'll suit El Fabiolo. Touch wood, I think he'd win, yeah.
Was that his best performance last time at Leopardstown? He looked so slick, didn't he?
Yeah, he was good, yeah, he was good. I'd say he'd improve again from it.
Another short price, Jonny Dineen. We all know you're not afraid of short prices. You sometimes even like them. 2 to 5 El Fabiolo. Is that value?
No, that's a terrible price. But look, he'll be way better than that. He'd be closer to 4 to 6 than 2 to 5. Well, without a doubt, that's the price he's at the minute anyway. He's almost 6 to 4 on the exchanges, so he won't be 2 to 5. Look, I suppose Edward Stone threw his hat in the ring the last day, but he was going to beat Boot Hill, but that kind of form doesn't warrant winning a champion chase at the same time. Saying that, he is going to put the cat amongst the pigeons here, because I'd say he's going to have to be ridden aggressively, like Newbury. And fellas are saying that there'll be good pace, but you can't make any mistakes off a good pace either. Do you know what I'm saying? So, the good pace might suit El Fabiolo and John Bon, but you won't get away with clocking fences in behind either. You get shuffled back out of your ground. Saying that, El Fabiolo to me looks less and less likely to make a mistake every day he runs, and maybe John Bon looks more and more likely to make a mistake almost every time he runs. I originally thought it was a dead match. I still don't fancy Edward Stone at the same time, but he will upset the race a bit, and he probably will force him narrow out to at least one of the two behinds. I fancy El Fabiolo, full stop at the finish, but I don't rate him as a certainty or anything like it at the same time.
We're going to look at the champion bumper now. The final race on Wednesday at 5:30. Jasmine DeVoe is 9 to 2. Tishan 5 to 1. Jalan Dadara is 5 to 1. Maureen 5 to 1. 7 to 1 Romeo Coolio. You ought to know 8 to 1. And it's 10 to 1 Bar. And this is why you need to listen, ladies and gentlemen, because there is one man on this panel, he doesn't know who he is yet, with a seriously strong opinion on this race. Not just a strong opinion. This is his banker of the entire meeting, ladies and gentlemen. And this horse is 11 to 1. Take it away, Mr. Tony Keenan.
Look, you can kind of gauge already. I don't particularly like backing odds-on shots, but that's just my way of going at it. Everyone has their own way. I just think it is probably an ordinary champion bumper. I think the yellow clay... the horse is the yellow clay. Gordon Elliott's horse, should have said that. I thought he shaped best in what is typically the best trial at the Dublin Racing Festival. He was fourth. I think with any bit of luck or run, he should have been second. And the winner is out for the season. So he's effectively the winner of that race coming into this one. Coming off a long break there. A lot of the horses in the Dublin race were race fit. He was carrying a penalty. Gordon Elliott says he doesn't really like soft ground, so say a bit of better ground would suit. And I think he's the most solid horse in a race where there's a lot of once raced horses that have kind of been impressive. I think he kind of has a bit more of a portfolio and a bit of, I suppose, depth to his form. Look, off Willie Mullins' team, I was very impressed with Jasmine DeVoe now in Nace. I thought he was really good now. But I think at the prices, I'd take the horses coming out of the Grade 2 in a year where there's no kind of Sir Gerhard or Appreciated or Facile Vega or anything close to that. I think he's a big price, yeah.
Yeah, it was a hell of a run by the yellow clay. Got kind of lost his pitch really turning in at Leopardstown. Was brought to the outside under Barry O'Neill and flew home. So 11-1, the yellow clay is Tony Keenan's fancy in the Weatherby's champion bumper. David Casey, it's fair to say, well, we don't know yet, but it doesn't look the strongest ever team Willie Mullins has had for the bumper.
Yeah, I probably agree with that, but I think a lot of the bumpers in Ireland at the moment are not very competitive. I think if Gordon has a decent one in it, or Gavin or Henry or we, they're going and winning. I'm just not sure. There's a lot of strength and depth in any races, so it's hard to tell. Jasmine Defoe was very good in Naas, very impressive. But I just don't know what sort of how strong a race was.
How does he work?
Yeah, he works well. Yeah, we fancied him going there now. We were confident that he'd go and do the job, but at the same time, I agree with Tony that the Leopardstown race is probably the strongest race. I thought you ought to know ran a hell of a race. I thought he was out the back, and I thought it was very hard to come from where he came from to finish second. Hadn't run for a long time. I think there's plenty of improvement there. I thought he could have a chance. Outside of that, I didn't have a strong opinion on it. No, I thought it was an open enough race. I thought the horse actually, he won last week, Cantico. I thought the race he ran in Leopardstown, I thought was the most competitive maiden bumper run this year, possibly. Stevens' day, was it? I can't remember.
Finished third.
Yeah, what won the race? I can't.
Martin Brown's horse won it, yeah. And
Like,
Gavin, you had a good horse run very well in that as well.
I'd say he's a fair horse, you know. So
I was second in it.
Gold in the mountains, yeah.
yeah, I just thought that was the strongest, most competitive maiden bumper run this year. So
just before I let you go, who do you think Patrick will ride?
ooh, I would say, I'm going to guess, but I'm going to say Jasmine Defoe, maybe. I don't know if Maureen runs or not. Everyone in the yard seems to think she's running. I see one of the owners putting up on Twitter that she's going to Liverpool, so she'll be entered Monday anyway, or Tuesday, whatever it is.
How good is she?
I wouldn't have said great before she won.
Yeah,
But yeah, obviously she's better on the track, you know, she bolted up, so.
yeah, okay. A gentle boy?
Yeah, he won well. More of a stamina horse, I'd say. I'd say there's lots of improvement in him. Won a weak race, but made the run on green and kept galloping well. You know, I'd say there's plenty of improvement in him, but I'd say a better chaser down the line.
Brilliant. Okay. Puppy, anything you like in the champion bumper?
Yeah, no, I was very impressed with Jasmine Defoe and Naas. Thought that was a very good performance. You could question the form. A couple of horses in behind, the form was pretty weak. And the other horse I like is Gordon Elliott's horse, Romeo Coolio.
They love him, don't they?
He came with a huge reputation. He never looked like he was going to get beaten in Fairyhouse, but he was always just doing enough. He needs to improve off that run in Fairyhouse. He's probably open to it, and he's a horse that just could be one for the champion bumper, where he's laid back, just goes through the motions, but stays really well.
Okay, that's Romeo Coolio, 7-1 shot. Your kind of race, Jonny Dineen, the champion bumper?
No, I'd say this is the worst betting medium of the 4 days. Anyway, this champion bumper, I just think it's like you're dealing with complete unknowns. 20, say what? How many can run? 20, 24? Is it something like that?
22, I think.
Something like whatever. But it's all horses that have won. A lot of them have only one win and all that kind of stuff. It's impossible to relate the form. I think. Okay, if you force me to have a bet in it, I would pick Cantico, but I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't finish in the first 10 either.
That's Cantico. Jonny Dineen is mad keen on. Can't see it beat Cantico. Currently a 10-1 shot with Boyle Sports. Grand Annual, Cross Country Chase and Coral Cup are the supporting races to the Grade 1s on Wednesday. Tony Keenan, anything you like in those?
If Barry Connell started to show a bit more form, I thought Enniskerry was kind of interesting in the Grand Annual. I thought he didn't stay in the Galway plate, having kind of travelled into the dip quite well. And I also wonder, is he best fresh? Like, he destroyed a horse in a flat maiden at Leopardstown and finished up and rated 90. He's coming off a break there at the start of the summer. So, yeah, I think being fresh might be a thing with him, but I would like to see the stable of a couple of winners between now and then.
Yeah, Cross Country or Coral Cup?
No, nothing in either, no.
No. Rob, anything you like? Manila Indo is obviously favoured for the Cross Country Chase. How is the former Gold Cup winner?
Yeah, he's in mighty order, and I think he'll take a lot of beating. He ran a cracking race first time over the banks back in December, and that was coming off the back of his running down Royal. He's freshened up well. and I think he'll take plenty of beating off level weights. Obviously, Delta Work and Cocoa Beach and Gavin, there's plenty of opposition coming from Gordon's, but I think he'll win. He loves Cheltenham and seems in good form. The Coral Cup, Ballyadam will definitely run, possibly hitting Valley Lake as well. Think hitting Valley Lake would have a strong each way chance in the Coral Cup if he runs. Probably would have been an awful lot sweeter on if he had finished second or third in Navan, but he didn't. And then Dancing on My Own in the Grand Annual, he won around Cheltenham back in October. Wants good ground. If he gets good ground, he'd have an each way chance, but he's getting pretty high in the handicap now.
Okay, that's Dancing on My Own in the Grand Annual. Potentially Hidden Valley Lake in the Coral Cup at 250. The 1:30 at Cheltenham on Thursday is a Turner's Novice Chase. Fact to file is favourite. We've been here before, 7-4. Ginny's Destiny, perhaps the surprise package of the whole season, is 5-2. Whoa, he's short. 9-2 Grey Dawning. Gaelic Warrior 5-1. Facile Vega 5-1. Iroko back from the dead almost is 5-1. Elete Toms is 7-1. Found 58-1. 16-1 American Mike. Right, Jonny. So you said there's absolutely no chance whatsoever in the earthly world that Factifile will run in this race. So he's gone. Factifile won't be running the Turners. He's running the Brown Advisory, according to Johnny Dineen. What wins the Turners now that Factifile is gone?
Look, I think Facile Vega will run here. And I think he's one of the better bets of the meeting in and around
the whole meeting.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I do. I think he has a real class edge over what's running in this race. I think the likes of Ginny's Destiny, who's a good horse, no question about it, but it's stepping out of handicaps. And this isn't the great race. This is not like Gaelic Warrior might run here. Maybe I don't know whether he will or he won't. But Facile Vega with a Paul Townend on it, I'm hoping that would be like obviously if him and Gaelic Warrior turned up and he didn't ride it, you'd be having a rethink then at the same time. But just say he was the sole Mullins representative.
He'd be favourite, wouldn't he?
He would be up there with Ginny's Destiny. Yeah, definitely. I'd say he would. Yeah, I think he would. Yeah. But I do think he has he's coming out of Grade 1 company, winning like champion bumpers and Grade 1 hurdles and all that, and punches down like second in the Ginny's Destiny is a very good handicapper, but a very smart handicapper. But I would think that Facile Vega going to 2.5 miles, if they're on about him running 3 miles, obviously the 2.5 miles is going to be no issue whatsoever. I do think, looking at the betting, it looks like he's heading this way. He's a much bigger price for the 2 mile than he is for this, and to me he has a big class edge over. Like, I think his jumping isn't really pinpoint for 2 miles either. I think he'll step up to half a mile will do him no harm. And if I've never ridden a horse in my life, but if I was riding him, I'd be putting away Ginny's Destiny before the second last. I wouldn't give him a chance to gain lengths at the last 2 fences, which he has done in 1 races. By doing that, I'd have him put away off the last bend if I could.
And tell me something in general, Jonny, would you prefer horse to be ridden positively or held up?
What would you think?
And my final question for you, Jonny, on Facile Vega. You are the least forgiving punter I know. When horses let you down, they're gone. Game over. Never again. Forget about him. He's not back on your list and you won't back him. Facile Vega has let a lot of people here down a good few times. Why are you giving him another chance here?
I looked at he has one inexplicable bad run at Leopardstown.
But he was still well beaten in the Irish Arkle.
Yeah, he wasn't beaten a million miles all the same, was he? Even he was there at the last with some sort of a chance and pecked at the back of it. I didn't think he ran horrendous in the only race he's really run badly in is the that particular race, the Deloitte and Touche or whatever they like to call it now. And I do think in the latter few years I've noticed that the real top trainers, the likes of Mullins and Henderson, Aidan O'Brien can pull horses like Shishkin, like August Roden, like this fella, and they can bring him back from the dead a lot quicker than they used to be able to do one time, I think. So for that reason, I think, okay, he's not really performing at his peak, but he still did beat in the pocket in the Novice Chase. So I'd fancy him strong in this race anyway.
Okay, he's somebody obviously fancies him as well. He's 5-1 in your booklet, but he's now 9-2. Facile Vega for the Turner. So a great start to the second half of the show, because Johnny Dineen is extremely keen on Facile Vega in the Turners, and he thinks he's one of the best bets of the meeting. David Casey, what do you make of that?
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with him. If he pitches up here, I still have a lot of faith in the horse. But the fact, obviously, that we're not certain where Factifile Galligori or Facile Vega are going to go. I think the race lacks, outside of those, I think the race lacks a lot of depth. I think it's a very, very winnable race. And Ginny's Destiny's a decent horse, been coming up the handicap routes. A bit like Stage Star last year, who went and won the race. If Grow Downing pitched up here, if you switch, I think it changes the race a little bit. If it doesn't, I think it's a weak enough race. And yeah, I'd be strong on whichever would run it then.
Is Facile Vega still like? Does he still retain all of that ability that we thought he had early stage of last season?
Yeah, I think most of it. Yeah, I think most of it. I think, as I say, just the two races he's running this year have probably been run. I think he would like a real strong run race, or actually, I think stepping up on trip will help.
Okay, brilliant. So that's Facile Vega in the Turners. Gavin, anything you like here?
Yeah, just from chatting to Dave earlier on, Facile Vega swaying me towards this. I just thought, for an outsider there, he thought he ran a great race the last day. Hasn't done a lot for a long time. Was American Mike. If he could put two runs together, he could run well in this at 16-1.
Okay, that's American Mike, who beat Nick Crockett at Navan last time in the 10 up. Robbie Power, the Turners, obviously fact to file, it revolves around him, whether he shows up here. Anything you like in this?
Yeah, no, I like Facile Vega as well. I said it earlier on about Paul Townsend saying run him in the RSA. I think this is the race for him, up a half a mile in trip. He travelled so strongly in Leopardstown the last day, and it looked to me as if he just plugged away up the straight. I think he's crying out for a step up in trip. And I think if he runs here, he'll be very hard to beat. All his form over 2 mile has shown that he travels strongly and doesn't pick up. So the Mullins team are always, if it's not working, changing. I think they'll definitely change. I think Facile Vega will come here and he'll take plenty of beating.
Okay, so there's a bit of momentum here as we're going along the couch for Facile Vega. Usually you burst the balloon. Tony Keenan, are you going to burst this balloon?
I kind of like the Nichols horse.
Ginny's Destiny.
Yeah, I think he'll drift now. I think he's as short as he can be at the minute, even with the fact that a lot of them aren't going to run.
What do the notes say?
The notes say that he's very good around the track, and he's, as Jonny has kind of said, that he's a brilliant jumper. Like, really, his jumping now has been winning them races. And you're talking about times. His time now was very good the last day compared to the horse that won the older horse handicap, the Gala. He's solid enough horse. So, look, again, I do think the market will probably come against the English horse because Ireland probably won a lot of races, but I think actually the novice just are quite good. And I think if he drifts, I'd be keen enough on him. Facile Vega, just the concern with him is ground on the tours, this fresh, it's kind of, that track there is quite tight. I think jumping can kind of win it there. The reason why I like him in the Arkle, I just think he can get the ground back on those two horses from Leopardstown, and he has Marine National covered. I'm just not sure about him coming in against these other English horses that are very well suited conditions.
Okay, so you're with Ginny's Destiny. Ginny's Destiny for Tony Keenan in the Turners. Moving on to the Ryanair chase, and you can forget about the favourite because he won't be running here. This is non-runner, no bet. El Fabiolo 6-4. Banbridge is your 5-2 favourite. Ground dependent. Banbridge was taken out of the Turners last year because of the deluge of rain on Wednesday. Fast or Slow won't run here. He's 3-1. Stage Star will run here. He's 4-1. Envoyalen will run here. He's 4-1. Conflated will run here. He's 7-1. Don't know if Capadano does. David might tell us more. Pictori has been taken out. And Phil Dore is 10-1. Sticking with you, Tony. Banbridge is, for a lot of people, one of their strongest fancies of the week. He's only had the one run this season, but he's pretty good when he's on song.
He is in the form. Got a nice boost at the weekend. Just the ground is the concern. It's very hard to back him anti-post, or I suppose non-run, no bet for everything now. You just don't know if you're going to get a run. I would give Phil Dore a little bit of a chance here. I think he's been crying out for 2.5 all along throughout his career. A couple of times he got a go in the Coral Cup last year. He probably out of form. I thought his run behind El Fabiolo and Cork now was very good. Two just again kind of look sharp from. I'd just take a chance on him at double figures.
Lovely. He is 10-1 currently with Boyle Sports. Phil Dore. Are you a Banbridge fan, Robbie Power?
Yeah, he's a very, very good horse, but he is so ground dependent. I think even the ground in Cheltenham could be a bit in the soft side for him. I like Envoy Allen here. I think he's won the race last year. He had a great run in Down Royal again when he just got beaten by Jerry Colomb. He comes here very fresh. His form is always very strong when he's fresh. And I think he'll take a lot of beating. I don't think it's as strong a race as it was last year. Obviously, if Banbridge gets his conditions, he'll have a chance. I don't think Stage Star has a chance. I think Conflated as a chance dropping back in trip would be a fear for me, but I think Envoyallen will take all the beating here.
Like, it's funny, Envoyallen, like, you kind of, people talk about this horse as though he's almost been disappointing in his career. He's a 3-time Cheltenham Festival winner. He won the Bumper. He won what was then the Ballymore. He won the Ryanair. He's been a brilliant horse.
Oh, he's a fantastic horse, and he's had a few issues along the way, but he's a very, very good horse. I wouldn't mind having a few more like him around. And when he's fresh, he's very, very good. So, yeah, I have a strong fancy for him. I think he's one of Henry's best chances for the week.
And his well-being and work at home is good, top-notch.
Yeah, no, so far, touch wood, he's been A1 and hasn't missed a beat. Everything's been going well in the build-up, and once it doesn't get bottomless, ground isn't going to inconvenience him too much.
And is it more of a help than a hindrance that he's missed a couple? I know he was in it in the Turles race, the horse and jockey chase, and he missed that, and a few others. He was in the race at Christmas. Is it a help that he comes here fresh from Down Royal?
Well, that was we missed Christmas, was where he was supposed to run. Then we thought we considered having another run before Cheltenham, because it was such a long time from Down Royal to not have a run, but the ground was very soft that day in Turles, so we thought better off going there fresh than leaving everything in Turles. So he's always a horse that's, I think, he's won first about every season bar this season, so I think he'll be alright. Going there fresh wouldn't be a concern for me. Okay,
there you go. Robbie Parris keen on Envoyallen. Jonny Dineen, should he not be favourite? Won the race last year, 3-time festival winner. Why is Envoyallen not favourite?
Look, I suppose he's probably shoving on a bit. You know what I mean? He's reckoning on the years. I thought the front three here, Banbridge, Envoyallen and Stage Star in that order, were kind of a nice bit away from the remainder of the field. I thought the winner would come from those three. Banbridge is particularly ground dependent and missed the race here last year, and the ground wasn't even that bad when, like, by the time that race was to be run. That was in the race of Stage Star. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it was bottomless on the old course on Wednesday by the close of play. Remember Dream to Shoot the Bumper? Yeah,
but it wasn't even horrific. So, like, it's going to be well watered because it's going to be the first race on the Thursday, isn't it?
I don't think they'll water at all, though, will they?
Well, if to produce at least good to soft ground anyway, like, you know what I mean. So it's not going to be good ground anyway. That's for certain. So look. I don't know, will he get the actual ground he wants? He's a good horse though. Like, I mean, he beat Pictory fair and square in Kempton, and he's an entry winner too. He's a really top class horse. Whether he'll get the ground, I don't know. Envoyallen has a good chance. Of course, he has a very good chance, and I wouldn't rule out Stage Star either. I wouldn't rule him out. I mean, he was running off top weight in a big weight in the handicap chase. So the ground went bad as well that day, and he hasn't run since. But he did win the Paddy Power, and that's probably smart enough for him. I didn't think that the outsiders. I couldn't put my finger on any outsider that had a chance anyway. So I'd go with Banbridge if he turns up, but I suspect he may not even run.
Okay, that's Banbridge 5-2 favourite. Jonny couldn't find any outsider that he could give a chance to. You know by now, David Casey, an early love of my life was Appreciated. Can you give me any bit of hope that Appreciated might come back to the horse that I thought he was, and I think you originally thought he might be as well?
Oh, Jesus, on his last two runs you couldn't anyway. He was very disappointing. So maybe Thurles just came a bit soon after Christmas for him. That's kind of what you'd be.
Do you think he'll run here?
Yeah, he's in here and definitely won't run the champion chase anyway. So, and if we're not happy with him, he won't run at all. I'd say might go to Fairy House or somewhere, but we'll run Capodanno. I think it's a bit short for him. I think it probably revolves around the top three. Envoyallen, I think, is probably the one to beat going on last year's form. At Banbridge, you'd be very worried about whether he'd run or not. If fast or slow on here, I think he'd win with his mouth open. But he'll have.
Do you think he could?
Oh well, I don't know. He's entered, so.
Yeah,
anything could happen, but I think he'd win with his mouth open. If he ran here, you'd bounce him out and just let him gallop along, jump from fence to fence. They wouldn't see which way he went. But other than that, I'd probably go with Envoyallen at 4-1. I think it's a good each way price.
Okay, Envoyallen for David Casey. Okay, Capodanno is 8-1. David gave him a mention there, and yeah, it's going to be interesting. Envoyallen 4-1. I could see that getting even skinnier come nearer the time. And Robbie Power is very keen on Envoyallen in that Ryanair chase. 250 on the Thursday. Moving on. Moving on to the feature race on Thursday, it is the Stairs Hurdle, and currently we have 3-1 joint favourites, Irish Point and Tihupu, 11-2 Crambo, 8-1 Noble Yates and Sir Gerhard, 10-1 Monkfish, 12-1 Flooring Porter, and 14-1 Bar. Robbie Power, I'm going to come to you here first. You're obviously good friends with Brian Atchison of Robcore. He's got Irish Point and he's got Tihupu. It's starting to look like they're both going to run here. I know Gordon did mention that he might run in the Champion Hurdle Irish Point, but do you think they'll both show up here?
I imagine they probably will. I know Gordon is keen to go Irish Point for the Champion Hurdle. He has mentioned it, all right. But I think they'll both look. If Irish Point ran the Champion Hurdle, he's playing for probably third at best. He's a chance in this. Tihupu will definitely run here. Irish Point was visually very, very impressive in Leopardstown at Christmas, which we beat a bunch of has-beens. So it's hard to make any big case for that form. Tihupu beat Imperial Pass in the Hatton's Grace, which probably isn't looking as strong a form now as it was at the time. But that was still a very, very good run. He ran well in this race last year. Didn't think it was Davy Russell's finest hour now on him last year. So Jack knows him very well. He's gone here fresh this year, which is a big, big thing for him. I suppose the only concern you'd have is if Banbridge wins the Ryanair half an hour before, ground is probably a little bit quick for team. That'd be your main concern, and that wouldn't be a concern for Irish Point. So for that reason, I think the two of them will more or less probably show up here, yeah.
If they do, and the ground is on the slow side of good, so good to soft, but there's a bit of cutting it, Irish Point and Tihupu, who would you ride?
Tihupu.
There you go. 3-1 joint favourites, Tihupu and Irish Point. Tony Keenan, have you a strong view on the Stairs Hurdle?
I don't have a strong view. I just wonder, even is English soft enough for Tihupu? I think he really likes the real slop now that we get here. So I just don't know. Irish Point's been visually brilliant. I thought really good action down Ryle as well, giving chunks away to a half decent mare that was race fit. But I don't have a strong betting opinion, no.
Okay, Jonny, Dineen, have you?
Look, I suppose you'd have to take note of what Jack Kennedy goes for, and you'd have to respect that. And if Robert is fancying Tihupu, it's hard to come up and say I fancy Irish Point, and I think it is anyway. Look, without knowing anything, I just said maybe lean towards Irish Point, because I would slightly agree with Tony there that I have a feeling the softer the ground, the better for Tihupu. Okay, he may be best fresh, but he hasn't much real good top level form on anything bar soft to even softer, and that, like, I don't think you'll get the real depths of winter stuff that he probably needs to be at his best.
Do you think he does need that, Jeff?
I do. I think you're feeling there's a difference between Irish soft ground horses and English ones. You know what I mean? I do think that the likes of like Nickname years ago, they couldn't function at all in anything bar the real heavy winter stuff. So look, I do think that there's some very average horses in this race at the same time. Crambo is a bit of a chance, but he only beaten Paisley Park, who you couldn't fancy. So I'd say Elliot has a strong hand here. I think one of the two of them will win. I'd be waiting till the day to see which one I back.
And you did, in fairness to you, what a shout this was. Back in, was it November, Jonny Dineen, you said Crambo could potentially be a Stairs Hurdle candidate when he was about 100-1. You spotted Crambo fairly early in life.
Yeah, but I suppose he had won a handicap offer for the high 130s, and he won it in the walk. So he was definitely 150 horse. So it wouldn't have to be Einstein to work out that he didn't have to get further up.
All right, I was only giving you a bit of credit.
But he didn't have to go much further. I mean, he still might only be 150 horse. Who knows?
Yeah. So Irish Point is joint favourite. What's he joint favourite with, Jonny?
The other Elliot horse, yeah.
How do you pronounce it?
Tihupu.
David, I was going to say it's a rare race where Willie doesn't have a strong hand, and then you go down through the betting and you go, hold on a second, Sir Gerhard is 8-1, Monkfish is 10-1. Like, if we were on this stage last year, we weren't on it the year before, but these are proper top notchers once upon a time. Is there any life left in either Sir Gerhard and Monkfish? And of the two, who's working the best at the moment?
They both won last time out. Monkfish won the race in Gorn. It was his first run for a long time. Ground would be important to him. I'd say softer ground would help. I'd say there's a fair chance you could end up in the Gold Cup, Monkfish, rather than here. Sir Gerhard to run here. I wonder will he truly stay 3 miles. I know he won a point, but I think
Did he stay in the Brown Advisory last year? Didn't look like
I think he's a lot of pace, that kind of. I think he'd stay if you were riding him to stay, but if you want to be competitive, I'm not certain, that kind of way. I don't know. Outside of that, I'd be a Tuhupu fan as well. But it's looking at the race, like they're not great, are they?
No. There's no Barracuda in there anyway.
No, or big bucks, or.
But there could be a Flooring Porter, and we could have another English Streaver who won the race 3 times. Big Bucks, I think, won it 4 times maybe. But we're going through this, and you've obviously got Irish pointing to you, Pooh. There must be a part of you, Gavin. I know you haven't made up your mind. You've told us this already. But there must be a part of you that's saying, Jesus, I'd love to have another go. To win 3, it's not the strongest renewal ever. Is there a part of you that's thinking like that?
There is, of course, Dave, yeah. But will Flooring Porter beat Irish Point or Tuhupu?
At his very best,
It'll be difficult.
when he won the race, would he beat them, do you think?
That's a hard call too. Listen, he got a serious ride both times by Danny Mullins. Probably got a little bit of a freebie and he got a breather in at the right time, and I couldn't believe they let him do it again the second year. He was exceptionally good on him, and it'll be hard to beat the two of them.
Yeah.
But
It's a tricky one, isn't it? It really is tricky.
It is a tricky one, but listen, there's still a good chance we could try it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I know it's one of them situations where, other trainers would love to be in the position to have a choice to make, but it still is a hard choice. And that is your stayers hurdle. We're actually going to
Sorry, Dave, on a side note, just completely off track.
This is rare now. This must be big, because David doesn't interrupt for nothing. So get your pens out.
Harry Fry came out with a statement last week, and Aidan Coleman got absolutely ridiculed for it, saying that English jockeys go too fast and that's why the horses don't win in Cheltenham. I'm not really sure that's the real reason, but they do go too fast. They go way too fast, way too early. And a proven point to me is the Cleveland Noble Yates. Like, he wants 12 mile, and they kicked on 7 furlongs out. They're all off the bridle. There's no way in the world in Ireland, if the race was run in Ireland, Noble Yates would have won the race. It's absolutely crazy. So
they had a point.
Oh, completely and utterly every day of the week. Yeah, they have a point.
Okay, that's interesting.
But they got ridiculed for it. But back and watch the race again, like the second last on that track, it's 5 furlongs out. Dashel Drasher and something's upside them. They're absolutely flat to the boards, driving the heads off them. I mean, it's crazy.
It's Gold Cup Day. And we're going to kick off with potentially one of the most exciting horses in training. Sergino is 8-11 favourite for the Triumph Hurdle. Cargese, or Cargese, or I'm not quite sure. David Casey will be able to pronounce it better for me. I think it's Cargese. Is 5-1. Majborough 6-1. Gorgeous looking horse, Majborough. 10-1 Bernard Road. 10-1 Salver. 10-1 Storm Heart, I don't think runs. And 12-1 Bar. So, Dave, we'll come to you first here. I'm a big fan of Cargese. How do you pronounce her? She probably won't beat Sergino, but she's a good little filly, isn't she?
She's good, mare. Yeah, we call her Cargese, or Cargese. We've some French, I don't know what they call it. Actually, should have asked them before I came up. She won well the last day. She was a little bit unlucky, I thought, at Christmas. She ran too keen. She'd improved off that and won well. But I wouldn't be surprised if I think we had 3 behind her: Majborough, Stormheart, Bunting. I wouldn't be surprised if any of those improved to go by her at Cheltenham. It was her 5th run, I think, or even her 6th run. She had a few runs in France. Where it was only their 2nd runs coming from a maiden. I thought there was plenty of improvement in all of those. But listen, from what I saw at Cheltenham the last day, it looks the favourites to lose. He looks a standout.
Just a shout out on Majborough. He's going to make a smash and chaser, isn't he?
Yeah, like if you saw the size of him, he's probably 17 hands already. He's a huge big horse. He doesn't look like a juvenile hurdler at all. And I think when he fills out his frame, he's going to be a smash and chaser.
Yeah, I actually thought the way Willie was talking at him at the medium one was similar to the kind of stuff he was saying about Fact of File. Just really likes the look of him and the shape of him and the way he goes about things. So it's going to be interesting to see how Majborough gets on. Jonny, you think this is done and dusted? Don't even bother running the race. Sergino wins. Get what you can on.
Yeah, look, I do fancy him. I do. He's one of the better bits of the meeting. In just under evens. I do think he'd be very hard to beat. I don't see a danger as such. I don't like if he wasn't in the race. I think they'd be betting 9-2 the field, and it would be a race you couldn't pick a winner of. So for that reason, when you don't see a danger, I think you nearly have to back him. Then I do think he'll win it. He looked a really, really good horse in Cheltenham the last day, and I just think if he reproduces that, he will win.
All these odds-on shots, Robbie, are not going to all win. Well, maybe they will, but they're not probably going to all win. Is this one that's vulnerable?
I don't think so. And it's very unlikely that I'll win. I don't think so. But then again, the Triumph Hurdle, I suppose with the Fred Winter now, it doesn't make it the lottery it used to be. I was so impressed with him in Cheltenham the last day. I thought that was very, very impressive the way he beat Burdon Road. Who's a decent horse. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Masborough or Stormheart not running Casey's, you know? Yeah, Stormheart.
Okay.
I thought he ran well for his second run over hurdles in Leopardstown the last day. I think this track will suit him better. He looks like horse have plenty of stamina. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Stormheart reversing the form of Calgeese.
Okay, interesting. So Stormheart, 10-1, potentially an each way play for Robbie Perrin, the Triumph. Are you a Sergino fan, Tony Keenan? 8-11 is not your cup of tea or coffee or water or anything. So would you be getting stuck into Sergino at 8-11?
I wouldn't. It's a bit like the reverse of the Broadway. It's saying that the Irish form is no good. And
What's the Broadway?
The 3 mile race.
Oh, the Brown Advisory.
Brown Advisory,
Yeah.
whatever they call it. I think, I don't know what, that's the sponsor's name on it. The Broadway is the technical name.
But that type and smoke at Jenny.
I don't know. So, like, there's not too often you'd get the winner of the spring juvenile at, I know 5-1 there, but she's 10-1 on exchanges.
Royal Sports do sponsor the night, Tony.
I know that, but like, they're competitive on many other horses, just not this one. I was just impressed for her now again at Leopardstown. I thought Stormheart had a real weird ride now that day. Nearly Paul Townend was worried about his jumping, and maybe David mightn't want to get into that. But I just thought, he is very wide now. It wouldn't be his style to be going wide at Leopardstown on the hurdle track.
I think it's owner instructions. They like horses wide at space.
That's fair enough. Yeah, that's fair enough. But he kind of still at the same time got first run on Cargie's, kind of went round the outside, but she's just very good to quicken up. I think there's no reason why one of the Irish horses won't go and improve again. I'd much rather have a few bob each way on her than just back Sergino at 8-11. Just wouldn't be make a cup of tea.
Moving on to the Albert Bartlett 250 on Friday. High Class Hero, who has a string of ones next to his name, is 6-1. Reading Tommy Wrong, 13-2. 7-1 Dancing City, all from the Willie Mullen stable. Top 3 in the markets. Shanna Bob is 9-1. Gidley Park, who Jonny is a fan of, is 9-1. Lecky Watson from the Willie Mullen stable, 12-1. Captain Teague, 12-1. And 16-1 Bar. David Casey, are most of these going to run here, do you think?
High Class Hero will definitely run on Dancing City. Will obviously Reading Tommy Wrong has the option of the 2-5, the Bearing Bingham, but I think there's a chance he could run here. Lecky Watson will go to the 2.5, I would imagine. Doesn't matter after that. Like High Class Heroes, he's won plenty of races, but they've been at a lower grade purposely. Willie's let him build into it. I think if Reading Tommy Wrong runs here, I think he's a bet. He's a Grade 1 winner. I thought he won a good race the last day. It looked like the trip wouldn't be an issue for him. He's a very relaxed horse. So I think that'll help him in this race. Same as High Class Hero, but the profile of the race suits High Class Hero. Horses with lots of runs and lots of experience. I think he's had 4 or 5 runs now. A little bit like your mare, Dice Artinas. She's been going through the motions, winning weaker races. So he more has the profile, but I think Reading Tommy Wrong might have that little bit more touch of class.
Okay, Reading Tommy Wrong, 13-2. I think it's fair to say if he does run here, Reading Tommy Wrong, he won't be 13-2, Jonny Dineen. I'd say he'll be favoured.
Yeah, look, it'll depend, I suppose, on what's winning the earlier novice races. But I always just think this is the one novice race where literally anything can win it. I think the Albert Bartlett is much more open than the 2 mile and the 2.5 mile race. And look, I think when the horses get 3 miles, novice horses in particular, and they get nicer ground and a fast run race, it can throw up any kind of a result to me, and the form kind of goes out the window. And I'd be looking for something maybe in a race like this at a rather large price that you'd say an all-known form can't win, but funny things can happen. I think.
So what have you got for us?
I'm going to go with a horse called Stellar Story. maybe each way. It's at least 25 to 1 shot anyway. I just think that 3 miles and better ground at an end-to-end gallop, like Very Wood is a kind of horse that won this race 1 year for Noel Mead. That's kind of a profile that, okay, fellas will say, sure, said a story, how could it even be Dancing City? You know what I mean? But funny things can happen in this race. A lot of outsiders have won. Gilligan won it 1 year with a million to 1 shot as well. It's that kind of a race, and I would be against the fancied ones in this, and I'd rather have a stab at an outsider.
Okay, so 25 to 1, stellar story for Gordon Elliott and Gigginstown for Johnny Dineen. A stab at a big price in the Albert Bartlett. Gavin, anything you like in the 3 mile novice hurdle?
I'd be inclined to agree with Johnny there. It's a race that can throw up an outsider. I won it with Vanillier a couple of years ago as well. Same thing as an outsider. The horse that won last Saturday in Haydock that we might just supplement if we thought the ground was going to come up soft.
Well, that's interesting because I don't know. Do you watch Up in the Ante? Do you know what it is?
No, I know what it is.
You're probably better off. So it's a show that myself and Johnny partake in, and he said this week on the show that now is the hour, is not in the race, but if he was supplemented, he'd go off favourite and he'd probably win if he got soft ground. Oh, sorry, it was misquoted. Heavy ground. So you're thinking about it.
But we don't have to do the supplement until I think it's the 9th of March. So
Is it? Wow.
so it's so close. So we should know at that stage whether the ground is going to be soft or not.
This is miraculous improvement from this horse.
Yeah, huge. Listen, crying out for trip and crying out for soft ground. Listen, probably flattered a bit from last week. I think they went very quick on bottomless heavy ground. Sean gave him a very clever ride, took his time, caught the corners, and the race fell apart, and he won very well. But we won't be losing the run of ourselves. But at the same time, we'll be keeping an eye, and we certainly will consider it.
And you did point out earlier when we were having a bite to eat that he's got the point form with Asian Master. So there's a bit of back form there as well with now.
Yeah, there is certainly a little bit of substance to it. But he would want conditions as well.
Yeah, okay, that is now is the hour in the Albert Bartlett. Robbie, anything you like in the Albert Bartlett?
No, I don't have a strong opinion on the race. I think Dancing City's form is the best if Reading Tommy Wrong doesn't run. Obviously, as Casey was saying, if Reading Tommy Wrong runs here, he's a big player in the race. But I think Captain Teague each way. I think he's got a big shout in this race each way. He was third in the bumper last year. Crying out for 3 miles. I think he's a big player in this.
Okay, that's Captain Teague. Your Challow winner is 12 to 1 with Boyle Sports. Now it's time for the big one, folks. It is the Boodles Cheltenham Gold Cup. It's 3:30 on the 15th of March. And before we hear what the panel think, the most popular winner of this race undoubtedly will be Hewick. And earlier today, we got the views of Shark Hanlon about Hewick, and hopefully those views are going to appear on the screen right now.
So I'm delighted to be joined by one of racing's great characters, John Shark Hanlon. I'm going to jump straight into the questions, if that's okay with you, Shark.
No problem whatsoever. I'm sorry you're not with you tonight, but there's nothing we can do about it. I have another engagement.
And I'd imagine all systems are go now for Hewick and his prep for the Cheltenham Gold Cup. How did he come out of the King George, and has he been working well?
He came out of King George brilliant, so he did. Couldn't believe it after 2 days there. He was as fresh as could be. And I thought that he got a tough race, but just I think all the horses went so fast in the King George that they played into his barrow, and he came home fresh, and he's after doing a couple bits of work. He was in Naas, done a bit of work in Naas the other day, worked very well. And I had him in Burris yesterday, and he done another bit. So listen, 1 or 2 more bits of work gets him ready, and please God, I think he improved since last year. So hopefully, I'm hoping he did anyway. But and I'm hoping the weather will start drying up a small bit, because this weather will break our heart at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the next question. I mean, the ground probably wasn't perfect for him at Cheltenham last year, but he was still in with a big chance of placing, coming down to that famous second last. What are his ideal conditions? And if he gets them, what do you think is his chance this year?
His ideal condition is good ground. And I was between minds last year whether I run him or not on it, but he was still running a cracker. He came down the hill. I wouldn't have swapped him with any other horse. And Jordan Gainford was very sick of him when he came back in. He said to me, Shark, he says, he comes off the bridle in every race. And then he comes back on. He said he was after coming off the bridle, but he came back on it. So you never know what would have happened. I think he would have been in the first three if he had to stand up. And it's been a great results on the ground that wouldn't be fully right for him. So I think the only chance we have beaten Willie's horse is if we can get proper good ground.
And if the weather gods are smiling on us, he's 14-1 with Boyle Sports at the moment. I think everyone in the audience would like a nice price winner on Gold Cup Day. Do you think Hewick is the horse they should be backing?
I do, yeah. I think that he's a great price. Like, he's in double figures there. And if Paul Nichols or Willie or Gordon had him after he win the King George, he'd probably be 8-1. But I think on the day, he won't be any more than 8-1.
And you mentioned Willie there. I mean, you're not too far away from Closutton. Have you heard any whispers on how any of their runners are going to fare? Hopefully you're not hearing Galloping Deschamps is working the house down anyway.
Yes, I have my little spy over there, so I'm on top of the ditch watching everything. Listen, Willie is very happy with all the horses. He said they're all coming on nicely. So Willie wouldn't let much out. There don't be much of the out of that yard, you know. I heard nothing about any really, only that they're all coming on nicely.
And away from your own yard, Shark, do you think there's a good thing lurking at Cheltenham, and who do you think it could be?
I think last amount is certainly for the mares. I'm sure. I'd say that English are going to struggle. If they had 2 or 3 winners over the week, I think that's as much they're going to have in the English camp. But the Irish camp, like, you have Henry with a couple of good horses. You have Willie then with the team. Like, Willie could have 10 winners. You know, himself.
I think I speak for everyone at Boyles and everyone in the audience when we wish yourself and Hewick all the very best at Cheltenham. And let's hope for another chapter in his fairy tale story. Thanks a million.
Thanks very much. And I'm sorry I'm not with you tonight because it's just worked out. When you said it to me, I had something else on. The sports awards in Carlow, and I got invited in, so maybe we'll get one.
No worries. I think you've given us plenty of ammunition for a winner anyway, so thanks a million.
Thanks very much to Brian and to Shark for joining us tonight. I think that other engagement that he had, that he told us about 4 times in the video, I think he was picking up the People of the Year award in Carlow or something, I think. Yeah, I think he's won it. I think Willie is a multiple winner, but this year Shark won it. So very best of luck to Shark and Hewick. What a great story. And you can follow the story with Boyle Sports because they're going to be launching a new initiative where they're going to be following Shark and Hewick for the next couple of months and maybe even towards the King George next season. So he's going to be running the Grand National potentially and the Gold Cup. So plenty of interesting stuff coming your way from Boyle Sports about Hewick. But Jonny Dineen, we all know you don't believe in fairy tales. Any chance of an elf fairy tale here with Hewick?
Look, I wouldn't have fancied him in the King George, to be honest. I'd give it no chance, and I'd probably be giving it close to no chance here too, but that wouldn't mean it wouldn't win. But look, sure, he's doing well to be there, and he's like 16-1 chances they win on a regular enough basis. So look, he has to have some sort of a chance. I personally don't fancy him, but that wouldn't mean anything.
And you don't fancy Hewick, but you don't fancy Galloping Deschamps.
No, I just think that he's short. I mean, there is a few, as we've gone through a lot of the races, a lot of skinny ones there, and this is the one skinny one I wouldn't go near back in anyway, definitely not. I just think there is enough of cover here to chance your arm and maybe opposing this one anyway. I do think there's horses like Shishkin, fast or slow, even Jerry Columbus, surely better than he ran at Christmas. And you have the fact that there's going to be horses like the real Whacker and Ahoy Senor and maybe like contesting the lead. It's going to be an end-to-end gallop, and I think he has very little margin for error, and I do think it'll be quite a reasonable sized field, and he won't need to do anything wrong. I think he'll need to improve on last year's run to win. I think that Brave Man's Game wouldn't, like, he's a 20-1 shot in this race where he jumped.
Still beat him 7 lengths.
But he jumped the last alongside him all the same now, and Hewick was hanging around too. I have a feeling last year's race wasn't a brilliant race. I do think he's had a few hard races this year too that he didn't have last year. He definitely has to have had hard races in both days in Leopardstown. I just think there's, at even money or 5-4 against him, whatever price he is, he'd been around 11-10. I just think you have enough going for you to close your eyes and take a chance here.
So 4-1 Fast or Slow, 7-1 Shishkin, 8-1 Jerry Kalam. Of those three, who's his biggest danger? Fast or Slow?
Look, Fast or Slow because he's guaranteed to start. But if Shishkin did get away on terms, I'd say he's possibly the biggest danger to the favourite. Now, he is a horse that at least the favourite has never beaten before, whereas he has nearly beaten all the rest of them.
Before I let you go, is there a chance, though, that Galloping the Champs is this once-in-a-lifetime type of horse where he could just be an absolute superstar?
Look, he looked a superstar at Christmas, but some of his other runs, it doesn't make him a superstar. I mean, he did get beaten Punchestown. He got beaten to John Durkin. Okay, well, he won well enough the last day, didn't he? He was as impressive as he was at Christmas. And look, it's not easy to win back-to-back Gold Cup. So I'd be against him anyway. I'll take my chances in a
It's
minute.
not easy. Alboon Photo did it.
He did, but when you go back to Best Mate 20 years before that, lots of horses haven't done it at the same time.
Okay, you're against Galloping the Champs.
Yeah, I would.
You will be laying him on the day.
Absolutely, yeah.
David Casey, the counter-argument for Galloping the Champs, please.
He's been there, he's done it, he's beat most of them. He's very, very good at Christmas. He was very, very good in the Dublin Racing Festival. I don't see where the chink is. So, I think he's in great order. And I think if he turns up that way, yeah, he's the one they all have to beat.
What makes him so good? Why is he, according to Racing Post ratings, I think the best Gold Cup winner in the last decade anyway?
Yeah.
What makes him so
I
good?
wouldn't worry about that, no, ratings-wise. But is he better than what's on the card at the moment? And I'd say yes. So that's what makes him good, I think.
Okay, he's just better than them. Gavin Cromwell, does Galloping the Champs win back-to-back Gold Cups?
Yeah, I think he does. Fast or Slow, look, he's just not good enough to beat him, I think. But he's going to make a race of it. Shishkin, if he does jump off, I'd say is probably the one that could be second to. And I think Huey can run a creditable race, and I'd give him a place chance. But it's very hard to see past the favourite if they can get him there in one piece.
David, I passed on the mic there without asking you about Monkfish, who you think will run here. I know Willie said at his media morning that he is likely to run in this race. He's leaning towards it. Is this the Monkfish we used to know?
It's hard to know. It's very hard. He had such a long time off, but he did win well in Gorn. I thought it was a weak enough race. He wouldn't have been fully tuned for Gorn, so I think there was improvement there to come. And he could run a race, but I wouldn't be going shouting from the treetops telling people to back one or anything like that. But I wouldn't stop anybody either if they wanted to have something to join him, So he was a very good horse at one stage, but he has obviously had a lot of injuries.
Okay, that's Monkfish. Robbie Perry, you've won a Gold Cup. You know what it takes to win a Gold Cup. Can Galloping the Champs go back to back?
I think he can. I thought that performance at Christmas was when there was question marks. He'd been beaten in Punchestown and beaten in the John Durkin, but then came out at Christmas, changed the tactics. He won the Gold Cup last year when everything didn't go according to plan. Paul had to change tactics very early on in the race. I think he'll be ridden more positively this year, and I think he'll be very, very hard to beat. I do think Shishkin is a big danger. I think Shishkin is a very, very good horse. I thought he'd have won the King George, but for stumbling 2 strides after the second last, he was unlucky. And I think he's a big, big danger. And I also think Gentleman's Game has an each-way chance if he gets cut in the ground. I think he's a very, very good horse. He lacks experience for a Gold Cup, but I think he's a very good horse. I think he's got his stamina in abundance. I think he has an each-way chance in the race.
16-1, trained by a master in Mouse. You haven't mentioned Jerry Kalam. Will we see a better Jerry Kalam at Cheltenham than we saw at Leopardstown, do you think?
Yeah, we're going to have to. If he's a £10 better horse, he only gets beaten 8 lengths by Galloping the Champs. So, I met Jack on the way back in that day, and I says, well, and he said to me, no excuses. So he didn't jump. He jumped very satisfactory in Leopardstown. He was just beaten by an exceptional horse on the day. I know Gordon and the team feel that he didn't run his race. But he's got to improve a hell of a lot to beat Galloping the Champs, or Galloping the Champs has got to retreat. So, I just think Galloping the Champs will be hard to beat.
You think Gentleman's Game could finish ahead of Jerry Kalam, yeah?
I do, yeah. I just think Gentleman's Game, he's a brilliant jumper. I know he lacks experience for a race like this, and there probably is going to be a big field. It's not going to be the forerunner Charlie Hall that he won in Weatherby, so it's going to be a big ask for him. But touch wood, if everything goes according to plan, he's having a good run. Mouse is very happy with him, and there's no one better than Mouse to tune a horse for the festival, as we all know. So, yeah, if a bit of luck on his side, he'd have an each way chance in the race.
Brilliant. So some positivity around Gentleman's Game in the Gold Cup. Currently a 16-1 shot with Boyle Sports. Tony Keenan, another odds-on shot. This time it's the defending champion in the Gold Cup, Galloping the Champs. Player lay.
I think Johnny's kind of outlining a lot of good reasons why to be against him. If he does pitch up in the form of Lapper's Town at Christmas, he will win. I don't think any of them can reach that ceiling, but it's just whether he will or not. I think his jumping is still a little bit of a worry. He didn't jump great here now last season, kind of got a bit further back than ideal. I was going to take a chance at one that he hasn't run against, Korak Rambler. I've backed him without the favourite, I've backed him each way. He's a very good record of offence over Cheltenham. He's 3 from 3. He's the kind of horse you can just drop out the back and ride a race on. You know, I think a lot of these might well be the second and third best horse in the race, but they're going to be ridden to win it. Whereas I think Korak Rambler is going to be ridden a little bit with the entry in mind and ridden a bit to come home. So I definitely wouldn't be one bit surprised if he was able to get into the first 3 or 4.
And also given a nice mention by Mick Fitzgerald earlier on in the show, Korak Rambler 16-1 shot with Boyle Sports as well. So that's the Gold Cup. Now the most important part, charity bets for the Cheltenham Festival. Thanks to our sponsors, Boyle Sports, who are giving us £100 each to try and raise much needed funds for what we're all here for tonight, St Vincent de Paul. Tony Keenan, I think I could probably guess yours, to be honest with you. I think it has a colour in it, and I think it might be running in the champion bumper.
I stick with the yellow clay, yeah.
The yellow clay, £100 at 11th one. We'll try and get to 12s. For the Weatherby's champion bumper. That'd be nice. Robbie Power, your charity bet for the Cheltenham Festival.
Envoy LN for the Ryanair.
Brilliant. Envoy LN 4-1 for the Ryanair for Robbie Power. Gavin.
Let's be clear about it in the plate.
Brilliant. Let's be clear about it. 12-1 for the Trust the Trader plate on Thursday. Straight or each way? Straight or each way?
Oh, we'll go straight.
Straight, okay. We'll come to you last, David. Jonny Dineen, the best bet of the Cheltenham Festival. We need to raise money for charity here. What is it?
I'll go Crebily in the plate.
Crebily 7-1 in the plate. I'll go for Corbett's Cross in the National Hunt Chase. I think he's just a bit classier than them, and I think he'll beat Embassy Gardens. So I'll have £100 at 3-1 with Boyle Sports. And David Casey, this is the moment. This is why they bought their tickets, to find out David Casey, Willie Mullins' assistant, best bet of the Cheltenham Festival. Be adventurous enough now.
A lot of hours are short, aren't it? I go 50 each way, Quilixios in the Arkle.
Okay, 50 each way, Quilixios in the Arkle. But of Willie's, not as a charity bet, is there anything apart from, we know El Fabiolo, Galvin, is there anything at slightly bigger price that you think will win of Willie's?
It doesn't look like it. To me, Lossiemouth is the standout.
Lossiemouth, okay. Lossiemouth at 8-13. So there you go. That's in the Mayor's Hurdle.